lead the show, which I think is bullshit.
Here we go. Monday. It's Masters Week, and Mason is on spring break, which means today, Johnny I, the voice of your Lakers, who will tell us what exactly happened last night and will LeBron play in any of the 3 games coming up for the final week of the season. Also, Ramona Shelburne is sitting in, Momo. And of course, last week, we had that whole bit about the A chair, the B chair, and Johnny I on Friday had an offer for Corporate Greg.
On Monday, it's me and Momo.
Yes.
If you want me to, I will be the B. But you got to come up with the content. Because the hardest thing about being the A.
Yes, it is
coming up. Like everything in the show today, I came up with.
What will happen today? ... Let us begin. Celebrating their 20th anniversary on ESPN Los Angeles.
I am sticking up for John, my friend, my partner. He should be the A.
Mason and Ireland Monday edition. Ireland and Momo right now.
Guest growl, Momo. All right.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Have you seen Spirited? With Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds?
I saw a little of it.
Okay, that's where we got good afternoon from.
I know where you guys got it from. I watched a little.
For a year, I didn't watch it.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
And then
just let one fly and you'll be smiling pretty soon.
Because Greg knows me.
Good afternoon.
He beat it into me. He goes, Ireland, it's a musical. Why aren't you watching this?
And it's really good music.
Right. Yeah, I loved it. You said Riley liked it. Your daughter liked it, right?
Riley loved it, yeah.
All right, we got so much stuff to get to today. Brian's here, Greg's here, Momo's here. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Would you like to kill me a little bit more about the A thing, or are we?
We'll see. We're united against Greg
yes.
now because he thinks we both suck as the A.
Everyone is united against me right now. It's okay.
True. Here was my
Again,
general
never
sense.
happened before.
So when I first came back from maternity leave, it was this summer.
First time or the second time?
Second time.
Okay.
And I had to host Sedano and Cap a bunch. Like those two guys, remember they all took their vacations at the same time. And I was like, oh man, I'm like still got baby brain. Like, I'm like not really up on.
Which, by the way, is a real thing.
It's a real thing. It's just really just called sleep deprivation. Like your hormones are so crazy. And Lindsay Fulton was like, don't worry, I'm gonna make sure everything is prepped. You won't have to do a thing. And I go, oh, okay, but I still have to be the A. If I'm the A, I really got to prep. She goes, no, I'll do everything. And I walked into like the most complete rundown. Like she literally had scripted everything. All I had to do was read the rundown she did for me.
That's what I wanted Greg to do.
So if I had a producer like that.
Yeah. I know, Greg doesn't do that.
Then we could be the A.
I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I did when I first got here, and you guys beat it out of me.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is I yell at Greg. Greg and
Stray is over there.
Yeah, Greg and I argue about content all the time.
Yeah.
He prepares the way Mason prepares, and that is they get in a room and they talk about everything.
Yeah.
I hate that because then you're doing the show before the show. So as you know, I do everything the night before, the morning of.
Yeah.
And early in the morning, I send all you guys an email. The only one that gets me around here is Laura. Because Laura says,
she does a great job.
Yeah. Laura says, okay. She looks at everything I've put together and she goes, here's 5 more. Or if I have, like today, I had like 19 things. So she says, okay, here's 4 or 5 more. And I told her today when I walked in, I said, it's me and you against the world here because you're the only one helping me out. But that's my number one argument about the A. Is that the hardest thing about being the A is you got to come up with all the content.
Yeah, and the truth is, like Mason is a great A.
Yeah, he's really good at it.
He's really good.
Maybe better at it than anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah,
yeah,
because he runs the show and he is super prepared, even though he doesn't seem like it. He is
right. He's very good at seeming disorganized. Right. When he's really, you know, who else is as good as that is Jim Rome.
Yeah,
Jim Rome. I used to get to work at 5:30 in the morning, and Jim would already be there. And then he would come in the air, and it sounded like he was just winging it.
Yeah.
The truth was he had everything laid out. Yeah. He had pages and pages of content that he had prepared beforehand. That's why Jim Rome's in the Radio Hall of Fame. Yeah. He's just, you know who else is like this, who people don't understand? The biggest assumption you can make at ESPN is that Stephen A. Smith is just a screamer.
Right.
He's not.
He's not.
I did a radio show with him. It was just once a week on Saturday. This is Greg Beam before I knew you, like 20 years ago. And I was stunned at the way that dude's minds work. He is a grinder.
Yeah.
He's constantly working the phones. He's constantly online. Yep. He is constantly coming up with angles. If you assume Stephen A. got to where he is because he just is a screamer, you're missing the point.
That's the thing about angles. Like, people think it's easy to come up with an interesting argument. Like, when you're talking about the same things every single day.
Right.
Like, you still have to find an interesting way of talking about it.
See, that's the thing that I do well with Mason. I come up with angles, so I can get like 2-3 stories, and we'll make a ton out of those 2-3 stories with different angles. John, you want like a whole bunch of different stories with no context behind them, so that doesn't work in my brain.
Right? Yeah. So it's a disconnect. But anyway, let's get to this stuff because we got a lot of stuff. I was so disappointed that AD and LeBron didn't play last night because the Lakers have been playing so well. They came into last night winners of 9 out of 10 games. They had finally gone from the 9 to the 8. Now they're back in the 9. And I'm going to say something that I haven't bounced off anybody, so you're the first people that are going to hear
So it might be really good and it might suck.
Well, I don't know if you can make them do it.
Okay.
But I think I would make them do it.
All right.
Rob Pelinka talks about the fact that when it comes to AD and LeBron, it's a partnership. He doesn't look at those two guys as employees. He looks at them as partners. So Rob doesn't, at least this is a feeling I get being around those guys. Rob doesn't often tell them what to do. He talks to them and says, hey, this might work better. What do you think? As you guys know, I'm really good friends with James Worthy. So I played golf with Worthy yesterday. And I was talking to him about why did you finally, I watched your whole career at North Carolina. I watched your rookie year with the Lakers. 2 or 3 years in, you started wearing goggles. Why? He said, because I kept getting hit in the eye. And if you keep getting hit in the eye, you can't stay in the game.
Right.
And he goes, the person who talked me into it was Kareem, and Gary Vitti is really good at coming up with these lightweight goggles. So Kareem and I wore goggles for the next 10, 15 years of their career, and he never had another eye issue.
Interesting.
Now, apparently, AD doesn't like goggles. He says he's never worn them. Didn't wear them in high school. Didn't wear them at Kentucky. Has never worn them in the NBA.
Yeah.
He thinks they would be a distraction. But aren't we to the point, Greg, 3 times in 1 year, twice now this happened. Remember the Warrior game at Crypto last month? First quarter, poked in the eye, doesn't return. Last night, Minnesota, poked in the eye, doesn't return. I think you at least have to try and talk him into wearing James Worthy goggles. What do you guys think?
Didn't he also get elbowed in the eye the other during the week?
But
I'm
just saying.
Yes.
I know he doesn't want to do it, but he's too important. I think that if he plays in those 2 games, the Lakers have a really good chance at winning both. He's having an unbelievable year.
He really is.
He had this unbelievable road trip where basically we won in Milwaukee wins LeBron.
Well, everybody wins in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
these
but
days,
we didn't know that back then.
Yeah.
So am I
No, it's a good
overstepping
point.
my bounds? If Rob went to him and said, I need you to do me a favor. I know you might go 2 for 14 the first couple of times you do it, but let's try these goggles and see if it'll keep you on the floor. Is that an unreasonable approach by me?
I mean, I think it's to the point where it's like you just got to stay on the floor. Like this is when he went down, they didn't have a chance. They're playing Minnesota, who's got Nas Reed who can go 31 points, and Rudy Gobert. I mean, Minnesota is big, and they need to have somebody like that. They need to have Anthony Davis in the game to challenge. I thought Jackson Hayes had a great game. But
he did, but they had no size.
Davis.
They had no size to stop Nas Reed and Rudy Gobert, and Anthony Edwards is a freak athlete, and he just took it right to the rim. And as 9 out of 11, Lakers are playing great, and AD is going to be all NBA this year, right? And now we're in a position where there are 3 games left tomorrow night against Golden State. If the Lakers lose this game tomorrow night, and by the way, we don't have an update on AD's eye.
No.
I don't know if he's okay or not.
I saw a tweet from David McMenamin saying it's not expected to be a problem, but
good.
You never know when what it's like the next day. Is this the same eye? Is it a different eye?
Yes, it's the same eye. It's the left eye. So, if the Lakers win this game tomorrow night, I think they at least then get the 9. I mean, it's not mathematical, but they would be in position. Yeah. They're a game and a half up on the Warriors. No, they would be because they'd be 2.5 up on them with
4 to play.
With 2.5 up with 2 to play. So they
2
would
to play.
So if they win that game Tuesday, they would at least get the 9. Now they could get the 7 and 8, but if they lose, if they lose, Warriors would be a half game behind them. Warriors have 1 more game left than the Lakers do. Lakers have 3 left. Warriors have 4 left. If the Warriors win that game, they get the tiebreaker because so far they've played 3 times. Warriors won twice. Lakers won once. So they get the tiebreaker. And they have an extra game, and all they would have to do is win it. And they've won 6 out of 7. They're playing well.
Yeah.
So this game is kind of a must-win. I mean, I'm the last guy who likes that term, but if they lose it, then I think we number one, it puts us in the 9-10 game, rules out the 7-8, which is where I want to get. And on top of that, that game would probably be in San Francisco.
Yeah,
if they lose tomorrow night.
If they lose tomorrow night, they're most likely going to be going up to San Francisco. You're right.
Right.
Wow.
So
that's why the losing yesterday. That's why the losing yesterday was actually hurt a ton because you were in the 8.
Yep.
If you would have won, you would have been right there close to the 7 with New Orleans ready to play in just a week.
Not only were you in the 8, but did any of you guys see the end of the Houston-Dallas game?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Dallas came back and beat them at overtime.
Houston, the thing Michael and I hate. Houston up by 3, 129-126. Jabari Smith at the free throw line. He makes one of 2 free throws and the game is over. He misses them both.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas grabs the rebound. All you got to do if you're Houston with 8 seconds to go in the game is foul them. They get 2 free throws. You're up 3. Game's over. They refuse to foul. They forget about Dante Exum. He hits a 3, sends the game to overtime.
Yep.
I don't know why coaches don't do it. So, Greg, had they won that game, to your point, they actually would have had a reasonable chance at a good chance at the 7. They would have been in the 7 and a chance at the 6. Now, I think the 6 is gone. 7 is unlikely. They can still get the 8 if they win out.
Yep.
I think they go 3-0. They could still get the 7 with some help with some other teams. But if they lose tomorrow night, me personally, and I've run all the numbers on this, I think that puts them in the 9-10 game and more than likely puts them on the road for it.
Right. And
which is an unbelievable uphill battle.
Yeah, that's a disaster. To be
2
honest,
games on the road.
It's kind of a disaster for the league.
Right.
It's not just a disaster for the
What the league
Lakers
would like
or the
is
Warriors.
for the Warriors and the Lakers to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly don't want them taking each other out in the 9-10 game.
Right.
And you know what's funny? I looked this up the other night when I was at the game. We talk about, why are they in the 9-10 game or whatever it is. The Lakers actually, if you look at what their record is compared to what they did compared to last year. Okay, last year, the final Western Conference standings, the Nuggets won it with 53 wins. Grizzlies were second with 51. Then you get down to let's say 6, 7, 8, 9.
What was the 6?
The 6 was the Warriors with 44 wins.
And the Lakers already have 45. Yeah.
The 7 was the Lakers with 43 and 39. So they already have more wins than they did last year when they were at the 7.
And Momo, they're playing great.
Yeah.
Like this road trip, they look like a team nobody would want to play.
Yeah.
And so this game tomorrow night is of huge importance, and we'll talk more about it coming up. All right, coming up next. I've been on Twitter, which is now called X. I've been on Twitter for at least a decade, probably a little more.
Yeah.
I sent out a fairly innocuous tweet over the weekend that got more reaction than anything I have ever tweeted. And I'll tell you what it is. Most of it negative, directed at me. I'll tell you what it is next. Momo in for Mase. I'm John Ireland. Mason in Ireland, ESPN LA.
Listen this week to Mason and at ESPN. Tonight, the men's NCAA National Championship game, a battle of number one Purdue versus number one UConn. We will bring you all the coverage starting at 5 p.m. for your afternoon drive, right after the Sedano and Cap Power Hour, 5 p.m. College Hoops Action Jack. Driven by Subaru of Glendale. Your next Subaru is waiting for you now at Subaru of Glendale. 5 o'clock, Purdue, UConn, hear it here on the Southland's Mega Sports Station, 710 ESPN.
All right, Mason in Ireland. Laura's here. Brian's here. Greg's here. Momo. Ramona Shelburne is in for Mase. And so did you watch the women's Final Four of the weekend? I thought it was great.
It was
so
great.
did I. Couldn't get enough of it. And I thought we haven't seen the ratings yet today. I don't think so, Greg. They're not out yet for the championship game, right?
Probably take another couple hours.
Yeah, but first, the Iowa LSU game was the most watched women's basketball game of all time, 12 million. Then Iowa UConn beat it, 14 million and change over the weekend, and I think South Carolina Iowa will probably beat that. We'll see. But
I always wonder how the weekend ratings go because they have it to themselves, but people are also out on the weekends.
Right, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So at the end on Friday night, at the end of the Iowa UConn game, great game.
Yep.
Iowa leads by 1. They have the ball. They turn it over. There are 6 seconds left, and UConn brings the ball into the front court. So they're either going to lose by 1 or they're going to hit a game-winning shot. And with 3 seconds left, the refs called a moving screen on UConn, essentially handing the game to Iowa.
Yes.
Now, I was rooting for Iowa because I was a big Caitlin Clark fan. I got caught up in all her hype. I just think she's great for the game.
Yeah.
Love watching her play. So this is what I tweeted after that call. I'm rooting for Iowa, and that's a terrible call. You can't call that with the game on the line. That's all I wrote. Okay?
Yeah.
Ramona, you would have thought I wrote something about Trump or Biden.
Wow.
It was the reaction I got after posting that tweet was, how about this? Another retard. I thought we got rid of that word.
Yeah, that's not a word.
As a parent of a special needs kid, we should just eliminate that word altogether. Yeah. But this guy wanted to use it, so that. Another one. Anybody who thinks what you think doesn't watch basketball. Well, I think I've probably watched more than you.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I talked to 3 officials over the weekend. Yeah. 3 of them. I said, would you have made that call? All 3 said no. And here's why. It's not that it wasn't a moving screen. It was. It was a moving screen. My issue with it was you weren't calling it earlier in the game.
Right.
All right? If it's not a moving screen in the first quarter, it's not a moving screen in the fourth quarter. Anybody that plays competitive sports will tell you, you got to get used to what they're calling and what they don't call. All people want, both coaches, players on both teams, is consistency.
Yep.
To call a moving screen like that with 3 seconds to go in the most watched women's game of all time.
Yep.
Okay? 14 million people watching this thing. People can't get enough of Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark. That's how it ends?
I mean, to me, it's got to be the worst, most egregious moving screen to call it in that moment. Like, at the end of the game, you let people play. And I thought she was moving, but it was not so egregious that you had to call it. Like, oh my God, she knocked her over or something.
Good officials manage the game.
That's right.
And those officials didn't. But boy, I'm just looking through the responses I'm getting.
You were right though. What you wrote was correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Greg, you would have thought I'm serious. You would have thought that I was writing about like some serious political issue.
Yeah.
Like people came at me with just insane venom.
Well, welcome to Twitter.
Well, but part of me thinks, okay, women's basketball has arrived because we're arguing over a call.
Right.
Nobody at any point said, who cares? It's girls, or who cares? No, people are
usually
like,
that's what I get.
Right.
I try to do a lot of women's basketball coverage. Like I'm sort of, I'm the NBA analyst who, whenever
actually watches the women's
game. And also, with Elena Deladon, there was some controversy over her and the Mystics this year. And then Nneka Ogwumike leaving the Sparks. Like, I'll go and I'll try to break those stories because I think that they They need someone to elevate that level of news breaking around in the WNBA and get it on the show, have people talk about it. And every time I post it on Instagram, I would say 80% of the comments are, who cares, women's game, whatever, right?
That
now,
no.
Now people are like, you had NBA players live tweeting those games. You had Dame Lillard and LeBron James.
I know.
I mean, everybody was into those games. And I thought the best part about the whole thing was we were just watching the game. Like, it wasn't a referendum on Caitlyn or a referendum on Angel Reese or anything like that. It wasn't political. People were just flat out watching the basketball game.
And I just thought, boy, South Carolina's so good.
Yeah, they're just too big.
They're just so
too
good.
deep, too big, too. I mean, it was like the rebounding battle. They just wore them down.
I just love the way that Caitlin Clark carries herself. Yeah. And so after the game, somebody said, it might have been Dawn Staley, who was super complimentary.
Yeah, she was.
To Caitlin. Matter of fact, here's what Dawn. This is rare. Your team has just won the title. This is like 1 minute after South Carolina wins the title. They go undefeated. She's lost one game in 2 years. She's like 78-1 in 2 years. Here was Dawn Staley talking about Caitlin Clark.
I have to congratulate Iowa on an incredible season. Awesome. And I want to personally thank Caitlin Clark for lifting up our sport. She carried a heavy load for our sport. And it just is not going to stop here on the collegiate tour. But when she is the #1 pick in the WNBA draft, she's gonna lift that league up as well. So Caitlin Clark, if you're out there, you are one of the GOATs of our games, and we appreciate you.
So that was really cool of Dawn Staley to do. But another thing Staley said, and I think Diana Taurasi said it and some other people said it, is Caitlin Clark can't be considered the best women's college player ever because she didn't win a title.
I agree.
So somebody asked Caitlin about that, and I loved her answer. As a matter of fact, you can apply this no matter what you do in life, no matter what your job is. If you have a public job, trust me, I'm the radio announcer for the Lakers. I get feedback every day. Some people love it, some people hate it. But what I have learned to do is tighten your circle. You know that there are people that you respect that will tell you the truth. And so Caitlin Clark was said, do you believe that you can't be the best player if you never win a title? And here's what she said.
I think the biggest thing for myself is, like, you know, when you're in the spotlight like this, there's going to be, you know, a million different opinions on you. And for as many people that are going to love you, there's going to be people that don't like you. And, you know, that's the case with every professional athlete, men or women, playing at the highest stage. And I think what I've been able to do over the course of my career is just focus on the opinions of the people inside our locker room. That's what I really care about, the people that I love to death, the people that, you know, have had my back every single second of my career, have been the ones that have believed in me more than anybody. And to me, that's really the only opinions that I'm concerned with are my teammates, my coaches, my family, the people that I want to make proud every single day.
I think that's a great answer.
Yeah.
And it's also the answer to why Anthony Davis isn't on social media.
Right.
He said that I don't care what those people think. I care what my coaches think, what my teammates think, what...
He's not on social media at all?
He just doesn't engage in it. He never checks it.
Okay.
And I'm sure he has accounts, but he just doesn't worry about it. And when's the last time you saw a tweet or an Instagram post from Anthony Davis? It just doesn't.
That's a good point. Yeah, I feel like I've seen him post about, like, his sponsors, like was he have Doritos? Something like that. Some kind of Lay's or some kind of chip thing. But that's interesting because, like, almost every NBA locker room I'm in now, we'll be there. Like, I was there in the Cleveland locker room the other night, and it was the Denver locker room. And people were talking to Nikola Jokic and you know, doing his interview, and Christian Braun sitting right next to him. And the whole time Jokic is giving his interview, he's not listening to what his teammate's saying. He's on his phone scrolling through Twitter and Instagram messages. Like, that's what players do right after the game.
Right.
They just, the second they get out, they just scroll through.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like, I mean, I get it. You want to see what people are saying or what's playing or what's happening or whatever, but it's not healthy.
Right. And I think she's got a great outlook on things. All right, coming up next, we'll spin the wheel of questions. Laura's got one for us. But first, I want to tell you about iSpot Active. If you lift heavy equipment or you deliver heavy boxes, if you work in an office all day, sit in a chair, get up and your back hurts, you got to try iSpot Active. If you play tennis, soccer, pickleball, golf, basketball, or you're a runner and you have sore knees or shins, try this wearable cryotherapy. iSpot Active makes stylish form-fitted compression wear with pockets that fit flexible ice-cold gel packs. They call them Flex Pods because they're rubbery and they fit around your joints. Everybody I've turned on to this loves it, uses it daily. It's a great tool to keep you doing what you love, pain-free, even if it's your normal work routine. Go to iSpotActive.com and get yours today. If you go to that website, you'll see Laker legend James Worthy's one of the owners of the company and a true believer. I wear it almost every day, and I love it. Get yours before they run out. iSpot Active, iSpotActive.com. It's a free shipping situation and a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you got nothing to lose. Check it out today, iSpotActive.com.
It's the best week of the...
All right, Parker.
What's up, Greg?
Spring training. All right, Parker.
Jeez. Little Otani and Dodger blue.
Yeah, why are you looking at the camera?
I don't know. Let's start over.
All right, Parker. Dodger spring training.
That's right, Greg. Otani and Dodger blue.
Yeah, Yamamoto's here. Pretty excited about that one.
Tons of new faces. I mean, Kike's back.
Yes, it's great. Maybe we should talk about it on the ESPN LA YouTube channel.
I like that idea. What do you say, 9:30, 9:55?
Right, leading right into Travis Sliwa. Get a couple guests.
Maybe Marcus Grant, Travis Rogers, perhaps?
Yep, just have a bunch of people come in. Maybe Clinton Yates will even find his way in.
Oh, you know, you always want to have the handsome man president right there.
Absolutely. All right, well, I think we should do that. We'll do it every day, Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 9:55 on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. Thanks to LAX.
Hey, I'm Dave Denholm.
And I'm Mario Rees.
You know us from the LAFC radio broadcasts.
Now we have a new podcast called LAFC Plus, and you can find it on the ESPN LA app.
LAFC Plus brings you all the latest on the black and gold.
Plus, we break down the latest news and interesting stories from around MLS.
For all the news, fun, insight, and everything that is MLS and LAFC, join us on LAFC Plus.
LAFC! It's available on the ESPN LA app and everywhere you get your podcast.
Join us.
For Wheel of Questions. Producer Brian Cohen, are you ready with that wheel? Hit it, Jack.
All right, guys. guys. So this came up because we got another email. Hopefully I'm not putting my foot in my mouth. But we get a lot of company emails here. Some are to congratulate and recognize team members, farewells, etc. But I don't understand this reply all phenomenon that we're encountering right now when it's not needed nor specified. And I just wanted to know, is there a proper way to let people know to not do that? Because I'm getting bombarded.
To not reply all?
Yes, we're getting bombarded with these.
Another one happened today.
Yeah.
So I've told this story before, but
Are these on the Good Karma emails?
No,
ESPN.
Nothing in
so
this.
There was
Nothing in
somebody
here.
at the Laker facility one year, this was years ago, and somebody ate half their sandwich out of the refrigerator.
Oh, so good.
And he basically laid into everybody and hit like staff-wide, so it went to Jeannie Buss, it went to Rob Pelinka, it went to...
Oh, my God.
I think the coach at the time was Luke Walton, went to all the players, went to all the announcers, like people that don't even go into the facility. Who took my sandwich?
My
This is
sandwich?
Right, it's like right out of Friends.
Oh, my God.
But I don't know if there's a way, because I guess you could send a note to the person that sent it and simply say, hey, you replied all on this, and if they don't get it, they don't get it. But I would probably just let it go.
It's a lot, though.
Yeah, you should just let it go, but it's really hard because then you want to reply all and say stop replying all, but then you're replying all to the.
There was one a few years ago that went out to like the entire ESPN company, like
I remember that.
All the talent, all the staff, all the executives, and it kind of got to be a thing of everybody saying, "Please, I don't know why I'm on this, but please, it was something like a technology fix or something, right, Greg?"
Right.
And it got to the point where it took on a life of its own of just everybody, and then everybody was kind of one-upping each other with these emails.
Right.
Like, and I just think those are fun once every 6 months.
I mean, are they?
Like, but there's so many that I'm just like, there's one from like Disney that we always get. We're on. It feels like almost like a chat. Do you know what I'm talking
the
about?
Cora one?
Yeah, and I'm like, why am I on this? And does the person sending this know how many people are getting this? Because if they knew how many people are getting this, they would definitely not send it.
It should be a general rule. If it's a big company email, do not ever hit the reply all button.
Yeah.
Ever.
I feel
Ever.
like I feel like you should know that. Like I was telling Brian, I'm like, I kind of want to email the person that sent it and be like, yo, maybe when you sent the emails, because it's like the same person for a lot of these, put do not reply all. Because I feel like when they do that, they don't do that.
I read a book about the history of HBO.
Uh-huh.
And the guy running HBO one time replied all to something where he ripped the majority of the company, and he got fired for it.
Oh, wow.
And he was the head of HBO.
Wow.
At the time. And so, I mean, the other thing is, it's a good thing not to reply all, because you never know who's looking at what you're sending.
I know. I don't like big email distribution lists because, like, we have to send our stories into the news desk, and then I find out, like, there's all these people on that news desk email.
Who could take the story and run with it, take it from you. Okay, I meant to get this in on Friday, and I didn't get it in. Laura, I think you may have brought it up on the afternoon show last week, but I found this interesting because I'm not sure what the right side is. So you guys know Bill Maher, the comedian on HBO. He has a podcast called Club Random, where he invites people on it. And part of the podcast, Bill Maher's like Mason. He gets stoned every day.
Okay.
He's a big cannabis guy. So Bill on Club Random, one of the things that he does is he invites a guest on. Maher is smoking weed the whole time. If the guest is a cannabis guy, he'll smoke weed or she'll smoke weed with him, and they'll have a very casual conversation. And he says it loosens up the environment, gets some really good conversations. Cannabis is somehow a part of the show.
Okay.
So, you know the Jackass movies. It started as a TV show, and they had the movies. Steve-O, the guy that's in all those movies, got a request to appear on Club Random on Maher's podcast. His only ask was for Maher not to smoke weed since Steve-O is 16 years sober and, quote, there's nothing more that I protect than my recovery, end quote. Maher said, no, that's a deal breaker.
Wow.
Wouldn't refuse to not smoke weed. Now, I think Maher comes off as a little bit of a jerk here,
Yeah.
but I'm going to defend him because it's his show.
Yeah.
I would equate this to, Ramona, you inviting me over to a party at your house, and I say, okay, I'll come to the party, but I'm 10 years sober and there can't be any liquor there.
Right.
I don't want to be around any liquor. And it's not right for me to ask you to take liquor away from all the other guests because I'm trying to protect my sobriety. Brian, who comes off worse here? Bill Maher or Steve-O?
I would say Bill Maher's in the right here. I don't know if Steve-O necessarily comes off in the wrong, but yeah, it's his show. It's his show, and you have to respect that. Okay, I made the request. So I have no problem with like Steve-O making that request. Hey, if you want me to come, I'll come under this condition, no cannabis smoke kind of deal.
Right.
But I don't have a problem with Maher saying no, like this is the show, this is what we're gonna do, take it or leave it kind of a thing.
Laura, what do you think? Who comes off worse here?
So I personally think Steve-O, again, there's no right or wrong, but at the same time with liquor, you're not smelling it. It might be tempting. With weed,
Yeah, you
you're
can't get a
smelling.
contact high with liquor. Yeah.
So for me, it's like it might be triggering for him, and you're asking him to come. It's not like he wanted to and he got invited. He invited himself.
Yeah.
You are inviting him. So I know, is it Mike Tyson who also does this podcast? And there's
and Tyson's a regular cannabis user too.
So when Steve-O went to his show, the same thing happened. Hey, can you please not do this? And he was like, fine, I will abstain because of your sobriety.
Greg, it's kind of what I was thinking in terms of me and you is that it would kind of be like we ask a guest to come on the show and they give us conditions. Whenever they try and give us conditions, we always say no.
No.
So who comes off worse here?
I don't think anybody actually comes off poorly in the slightest. It's Bill Maher made sense. He said he wasn't big enough guest for him to have actually on.
Right.
When Maher said, Steve-O, no, you can't come on, that's because he didn't think he was a big enough guest. And Steve-O has every right to say, hey, just don't do it. So I think both of them come off fine. They had their own peace of mind towards it.
Momo, what do you think?
I think Maher comes off badly. I think you should support somebody in their recovery. It's not quite the same as a party because there's nobody else in there, right? Like a party is like, oh, if I'm not going to have a bar, then the rest of the guests are going to have. This is just like you and him. You can do a one-off here. You can just decide. And Greg's right. Like if he was important enough, he would do it.
Right. If it was like Obama and he wanted him on there and Obama said, hey, no smoking weed, he'd be like, okay, I won't smoke weed.
Right.
Yeah, that's like I've told Mason before. There's certain guests that Mason would not entertain coming on the show at all. I would almost welcome anybody. I said to Mason, what if OJ wanted to come on the show? He said, absolutely not. I go, no, we got to take him. I go, as long as there's no conditions, we got to take him. We can make news with that. We could ask him anything we want.
Yeah.
Why would you turn it down? And Mason's like, nope. Don't want to give him a platform.
Yeah.
Same thing with anything political. He wouldn't want to do it.
Right.
I said, well, what if we bring both sides on? Nope, don't want to do it. I think that I would welcome any discussion because, Dan, didn't Mase say, Greg, that he won't even bring a person on his podcast if he doesn't like the movie?
Yes, if he doesn't like the movie.
Which surprised me.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Because even if you don't like the movie, you should still have the conversation with the person.
Right. And
it's
you can
very
say,
weird.
You can say, hey, this part of the movie didn't work for me. Tell me what you were going for, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he said, no, I would never want to put anybody in that position.
Huh.
And I thought, well, he does work in the world of publicists. Maybe if he did tell somebody he didn't like their work, then the publicist would cut him off. So there's other things at play here. But I actually defend Maher in this situation. If cannabis is part of the show,
right,
and you think it's an important element of the show, then somebody shouldn't be able to tell you, "I'll come on, but don't do that." You know, I can't make rules for your party. You know what I mean? If you're having a party and you invite me and I come, I'm coming to your party. I mean, it's your party. You get to do what you want.
Yeah.
Okay, coming up next, 2 o'clock call of the day. This could be fun. You can talk about anything you want. We can talk about that call in the UConn-Iowa game. We can talk about whether or not I'm unrealistic to ask Anthony Davis to put goggles on. We can talk about the Lakers. The Dodgers had a weird weekend. They ended up losing 2 or 3 in Chicago.
God, they got their butt kicked.
And they're in Minnesota tonight.
Yep.
Who's pitching?
James Paxton.
He pitched okay last time.
Yeah, he just
right?
walked a bunch of guys.
Who pitched yesterday that gave up 7 runs?
Gavin Stone. But
Okay.
a lot of it was defense.
Okay. So Dodgers in Minnesota tonight, but 2 o'clock call of the day. Open the phones, 877-710-ESPN, 877-710-3776. Reminder, this afternoon at 4, Sedano and Cap are back. I don't think they've been on for a couple of weeks. But they got a power hour ready for you before we walk you up to the national championship game at 5. Don't miss the Waba Grill Sedano and Cap 4 o'clock hour today. Waba Grill wants you to make dinner time a little easier with their Kids Eat Free program. Get a free chicken or tofu mini bowl with any entree purchase weekdays after 4 and all weekend. 2 o'clock call of the day coming next. Momo in for Mase. I'm John Ireland, ESPN LA.
Now, mornings 6 to 10 a.m. on LA's mega sports station, 710 ESPN. KSPN Los Angeles, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
And yes, it is a must-listen Madness Monday right here on 710 ESPN. Tonight, the men's NCAA National Championship game, a battle of number 1 Purdue versus number 1 UConn. We will bring you all the coverage starting at 5 p.m. for your afternoon drive, right after the Sedano and Cap Power Hour, 5 p.m. College Hoops Action Jack, presented by Coors Light. Hey, California, grab an ice cold Coors Light and choose chill today. 5 o'clock, Purdue, UConn, hear it here on the Southland's mega sports station, 710 ESPN.
What are you playing here?
This is a new Beyonce.
Oh, this is Country Carter?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Cowboy Carter.
Cowboy Carter.
Yeah.
People are apparently mad at her about that. Good for her.
Why? Why are they mad?
Yeah, I mean, if I've got a country playlist in my world. I mean, I'm
awesome.
not a big country western fan, but I like country music, and
Yeah.
I would put this on
Her
there.
version of country is awesome.
Yeah, good for her. All right, we always take a call at 2 o'clock. If you were with us for Crosstalk today, you know. Point of contention between Bergman and I is that I want to take a lot of calls. Greg doesn't want to take any. So as a compromise, and I'm going to be dead honest here. As a compromise, Greg said, okay, how about we take one call a day? We'll do it at 2 o'clock. And I said, fair enough. You didn't want any. I'll take the one. Most of the time, the calls aren't great.
Yeah.
Thank you for realizing that.
There was a couple last week that were like,
but
ooh.
we're gonna give Skip
Thud.
We're gonna give Skip in Placentia a shot today. Hey, Skip, you're on ESPN LA. Hi.
Hello. Hi. I wouldn't ask how you guys are doing.
Good.
But I've been trying to get in for a long while. It was a comment that Bergman made, so I'm so glad he's there today. And we were talking about, you guys had Angels as a topic. Joe Madden came up, and he said that people in Chicago did not even care for him. And I thought it was the most ludicrous statement in the world. They hadn't won in 108 years. I'm from just outside Chicago. They went crazy, if anybody remembers the 2016 World Series.
Yeah, and
it just
Greg,
blew
I
my
will
mind.
say this, and Skip, I will say this. I was under the impression that Joe Madden was very well liked there. Do you remember saying that?
Yes, I do, because I have talked to very, very many Chicago Cubs fans. And
What didn't they like about
They
him?
hated him the next year. They wanted him gone the next year.
Do you remember
I
why?
don't remember exactly. I think it was something to do with the way he handled the pitching staff, just the way that his in-game management was really, really bad. They yelled at me like, "This guy's awful."
Okay, so Skip, here's where I'll meet kind of you two in the middle. I'm a big Joe Madden guy. I love having Joe on. We used to have him on when he was the bench coach of the Angels. He's a huge Springsteen guy. He's quirky, drives around. He manages Skip on hunches. He doesn't always do – the reason he didn't work for the Angels is he wouldn't listen to any of their analytics. He didn't want like a computer telling him what to do. He wanted to manage old school by feel. And so that's the clash. And I also think, Skip, it's the reason that he hasn't gotten another job, because all the managers now have to at least pretend that they'll listen to analytics, because the guys hiring them are spending a lot of money on analytics. Skip, does that make sense?
It does. I guess my point is what happened after 2016. I might give Bergman a little. I'm not 100% sure. I just don't think he realizes how important that World Series was to true diehard fans. And I know, being out here in L.A., maybe you didn't see it, but that stadium not only full, the city going crazy. Thank the Lord they won. My dad had dementia, and thank God he was able to still be with us when they won and know what was going on. Passed away shortly after. But people didn't care how he ran anything. Hell, pitchers could have dropped their arm on the mound just to win that World Series.
Right, to get over that curse. All right, thanks for the call, Skip. That wasn't a bad call. But I like Joe Madden. Oh, I would consider him if I was hiring a manager. But
so if you look over the last couple managers that have won World Series, it was Dusty Baker, who was he allowed everybody to do the whole analytics thing.
But he also did manage by feel a lot.
A lot of that too. Because he had that in him. And then Bruce Bochy was also an older guy as well. That probably was
That's actually a great example.
Yeah. So those are guys that it's not really so much about analytics in the postseason, and that's why we have so much not hate, but we get upset with Dave Roberts so much because he doesn't do as much by feel, and it's so analytically driven that it's like, okay, if you can't do that in the postseason.
Hey, John. The numbers are in. The ratings are in.
Did they beat 14 million?
18.7 million viewers for Sunday's national championship game.
That's bigger than any game of the NBA Finals.
It peaked at 24 million.
Good for them.
That's crazy.
Good for them. Well, did you hear the story we had on Friday that a reporter for the LA Times went back and looked at what it would have cost if you and I would have gone, if the four of us, Laura, Greg, me, you, went last year, would have gone to the Sparks Indiana Fever game.
Okay.
Our tickets would have been $4 each.
Whoa.
$16 for the four of us to go to the game. Really good deal, obviously.
Yeah.
This year, and keep in mind, Caitlin Clark hasn't even been drafted yet, but everybody knows she's going to Indiana. This year, and Cameron Brink, your girl from Stanford, is probably going to be playing for the Sparks. This year's game, you can already buy tickets for it. One ticket that was $4 last summer, $128.
Right.
$128. That's how much these people have done for this.
Okay,
so I mean, they have lightning in a bottle with these women.
This is the most watched basketball game, men's or women's, college or professional. So more than any NBA game in 5 years.
You know why? Because men will watch basketball no matter when it's on and who's playing.
Yeah.
But women, like Lisa, my wife, has little or no interest in women's basketball. She wanted to watch this.
Yeah.
She was into Caitlin Clark.
The 18.7 million viewers is 4 million more viewers than last year's men's national championship.
I bet you, Greg, that 18.7 beats the number that Purdue and UConn do tonight on the men's game.
I
100%.
fully agree with that.
Yeah.
You know why,
and it
right?
Should. Star effing driven town.
Stars.
Yeah.
There are stars.
And they were and by the way, stars who showed up and lived up to the hype. Caitlin Clark played great. Paige Beckers played great.
Yep.
That whole South Carolina team played great.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark had 18 points in the first quarter.
Yeah, and good for all of them. And oh, by the way, speaking of college basketball, the biggest story today, we haven't even hit it yet, is that John Calipari's leaving Kentucky to go to Arkansas. So I'm going to make a ridiculous suggestion that I know is ridiculous, and I want you to tell me if I'm being a little Pollyanna here.
Okay.
I have a feeling I might be. But you're Kentucky. Do you at least have a conversation with Dawn Staley?
Oh.
Or am I being too Pollyanna? She's 78-1 in her last 2 seasons. Last year, Greg, she lost 5 starters to the WNBA, reloaded, and went 38-0. I know there's never been a woman to lead a men's program, but if Kentucky is a top 3 job in college basketball. If there was, and this, guys, I just got to tell you, this is how things change.
Yeah.
Just interview her. Even if you're not going to hire her, bring her in.
That's interesting.
Talk to her, consider her for the job, and maybe she blows you away. And I think she's got the type of personality that might work with men. Am I pipe dreaming here, Bergman?
So, I mean, I'd love to say, no, you're not pipe dreaming, but I just don't think that she's going to go to a blue blood. I don't think someone like Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, UCLA, Michigan State, those types of places will hire somebody like Dawn Staley. I just can't imagine. And by the way, Kentucky was the last school in the country to allow a black person to even play basketball.
But then they hired Tubby Smith, and he won a title.
Yeah, sure. So they think they'd be the first one to hire a woman and a black woman? I just can't imagine that.
But think about it, I know they have that legacy, and Adolph Rupp was kind of known as a racist.
Right.
But they later hired Tubby Smith, and he won a title there.
Yeah.
So I think that they're past that. Momo, am I pipe dreaming?
Probably because in a way it would be easier for her to get an NBA job than a college job. Like college
By
is
the way, the
all
coach
about
of the year
recruiting
the coach of the year in the G League is a woman.
Yeah, Lindsey Harding.
Yeah.
It's I think that was a big thing, actually, to coach a men's team all season long in the G League and to be coach of the year. She's the Sacramento Kings G League affiliate coach.
Yeah, they play in Stockton.
Yeah,
up north.
and she's been on NBA benches before. She's been
Lindsey Gottlieb, the USC coach, has been on NBA benches.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I think that in a way it's easier to make the transition to the pro game because you don't have to worry about recruiting. Like you're not out there recruiting with AAU coaches and all the connections you would need. It doesn't translate quite as well.
It'll be interesting. I'm gonna. If I was the AD at Kentucky, I mean, you're hearing a lot of names today.
Yeah.
Here's one I haven't heard, but this is the guy I would literally fly to his house tomorrow morning because he's working tonight. I would throw the moon at Jay Wright.
Yeah.
If I'm Kentucky.
Doesn't he want out? He doesn't want to coach anymore. Right? You're right. You should absolutely go after Jay Wright.
Jay Wright, to me, Greg, is like when the Dodgers went and got Andrew Friedman out of Tampa.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jay Wright at Villanova won 2 titles.
Yeah.
Villanova is a small school in Pennsylvania, and he won 2 titles and had him competing for the national championship every year. He's been out of the game for 2 or 3 years. I think he's like my age. I don't even think Jay Wright's 60 yet.
What would you think of Billy Donovan out of Chicago? Because he's not going to last long there, right? Go back to college.
They're actually playing pretty well.
So you don't think he's going to get fired then?
I don't.
Okay.
And I think Billy Donovan would be an excellent choice.
Excellent choice.
By the way, if Danny Hurley wins tonight, it'll be the first time since Billy Donovan that a team has gone back-to-back in the men's tournament. So I think let's have a moment of honesty. I think my Dawn Staley thing sounds good, and I would love to see him at least interview her because I think it moves the debate along. But I think they're going to end up with Jay Wright, Nate Oates, maybe Billy Donovan, somebody off that list.
Yeah.
I think he'll probably get it, but they got to move quick because all these kids are already picking schools. So I would think Kentucky's got to have a coach in place by next weekend.
Yeah.
Probably. I have an update real fast on Cubs fans.
Yeah.
So Sam Pines, the owner of Good Karma Brands.
Yeah.
Or one of them. He is, or the owner of the station.
Yeah.
He is a massive Cubs fan from Chicago.
Right.
He said, "You're 100% right on Cubs fans."
They didn't like Madden.
Did not like Madden.
The weird
So,
thing is,
I'll take that W.
I know Sam and I know Joe. Those two would get along great.
yeah, they would.
Joe's just a great guy,
Can
man.
I hear that little laugh again, Greg? That little.
I mean,
he probably can't do it on.
I can't do it on. Yeah,
it was so good. It was like, sort of like.
It needs to come out. It just didn't.
Let's try it one more time.
I'm trying.
All right. Something came to an end last night that is heartbreaking.
Oh,
heartbreaking. And we'll get into it next. You got something to read over there?
Yeah, what if I told you that Mason and Ireland...
What if I told you? Haven't heard that
What
in
if
a
I
while.
told you? Mason and Ireland and Sedano and Cap that are going... if you listen to us this week, you can win a 4-pack of tickets to a night you will never forget. This Friday at the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood is the 30 for 30 15th anniversary panel. As part of the inaugural year of This Is Not Fiction, the
I
American...
would actually go to this if I wasn't in Memphis.
Cool, right?
Yeah.
The American Cinematic... I don't know how to say that word, is thrilled to celebrate the 15th anniversary for the incredibly successful sports documentary film series 30 for 30. A night to remember happens this Friday night, and we've got your chance to win this week listening to 710 ESPN.
All right. Coming up next, the end of an era.
Oh, my God.
Momo in for Mason and Ireland, ESPN LA.
Hey, I'm Dave Denholm.
And I'm Mario Rees.
You know us from the LAFC radio broadcasts.
Now we have a new podcast called LAFC Plus, and you can find it on the ESPN LA app.
LAFC Plus brings you all the latest on the black and gold.
Plus, we break down the latest news and interesting stories from around MLS.
For all the news, fun, insight, and everything that is MLS and LAFC, join us on LAFC Plus.
LAFC! It's available on the ESPN LA app and everywhere you get your podcasts.
Join us.
All right, Parker.
What's up, Greg?
Spring training. All right, Parker.
Jeez. Little Otani and Dodger blue.
Yeah, why are you looking at the camera?
I don't know. Let's start over.
All right, Parker. Dodger spring training.
That's right, Greg. Otani and Dodger blue.
Yeah, Yamamoto's here. Pretty excited about that one.
Tons of new faces. I mean, Kike's back.
Yes, it's great. Maybe we should talk about it on the ESPN LA YouTube channel.
I like that idea. What do you say? 9:30, 9:55?
Right, leading right into Travis and Sliwa. Get a couple guests.
Maybe Marcus Grant, Travis Rogers, perhaps?
Yep, just have a bunch of people come in. Maybe Clinton Yates will even find his way in.
Oh, you know, you always want to have the handsome man president right there.
Absolutely. All right, well, I think we should do that. We'll do it every day, Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 9:55 on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. Thanks to LAX.
Big news, Laker fans. John Ireland here. You can now stream every Lakers game on the ESPN LA app. Don't miss a second of the action with Michael Thompson and I on the call. Plus, all your live and local Lakers talk every day in the palm of your hand.
You're one tap away from everything Lakers.
You could even win Lakers tickets.
Download the ESPN LA app. And bam!
Download the ESPN LA app at the App Store and Google Play.
A battle of number one's number one Purdue versus number one UConn. We will bring you all the coverage starting at 5 p.m. for your afternoon drive, right after the Sedano and Cap Power Hour, 5 p.m. College Hoops Action Jack. Driven by Subaru of Glendale. Your next Subaru is waiting for you now at Subaru of Glendale. 5 o'clock, Purdue, UConn, hear it here on the Southland's Mega Sports Station, 710 ESPN.
All right, Mason in Ireland. Momo is in for Mase. And, it's a sad ending, but last night was the final episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Please, no spoiler. I didn't watch it.
So they say.
Okay. Yeah. Do you believe it? That
Right now, I believe it. But I think everything comes back. Like, in 2 years or 3 years, if they just feel like doing it, they could do it. They could do more.
Right. To me, it's a top 5 comedy of all time. And it was Seinfeld on steroids. And what they did, Greg, this won't spoil anything, but they tried to recreate the Seinfeld finale.
Yeah.
And it was almost like Larry, so many people ripped him for the Seinfeld
Yeah.
finale that he took the same concept and executed it as the finale of Curb. And it kind of worked for me. I liked it.
I thought it worked. I didn't even remember the Seinfeld finale. Like, I forgot what was in it, you know?
How could you forget that?
What was the Seinfeld
Well, Greg,
finale?
when you watch this, you're going to go,
Tell me what the Seinfeld finale was.
They all got, the 4 of them,
Yeah.
Kramer, Elaine, George, and Jerry, were
Yeah.
arrested for violating the Good Samaritan law.
Okay.
And they ended up in court in this small town in Connecticut.
Okay.
And in order to prove that these people were like irredeemable, they brought back everybody from the whole history
Right.
of the show.
Like, this is your life.
And put them on the stand to explain why Jerry, Kramer, George, and Elaine were bad people.
Right.
So the same thing, Greg, will play out at the end
Yeah,
of
it's
Curb. It's
fine.
like all the people over the years that
Yeah.
have been on the show come back to explain that Larry is irredeemable.
Yep.
He just and
I get it. I'm sure it'll still be funny, even if I kind of know.
yeah, but I think that to me, Curb will always be the show where he did everything that he couldn't do on Seinfeld because Seinfeld wasn't on HBO, wasn't
Yeah.
on cable, and just did it on steroids.
Oh, yeah.
But I love Curb. I thought he just killed it. It was 14 seasons.
Wow.
And you know what I think kept it alive and saved it is 6 years in, he brought in JB Smoove.
Yeah.
And he brought in Leon.
He is so good.
And he's such a good, he basically divorced Cheryl and his partner in crime became Leon.
Right.
And Leon was so inappropriate and
He's
so funny
inappropriate.
that it completely worked for me.
There was a scene in last night's that was just so inappropriate and so funny. It was so good.
Yeah, I thought it was. I'll be anxious to see what you think of it, Bergman, after you watch it. But I thought the Curb finale was pretty good.
I honestly just forgot that it was on last night. So I'll watch it tonight, and I'll give you my 2 cents.
All right. So I saw this story, and at first I thought it was a joke, but apparently it's not. So if you own property in New York, apparently it is not uncommon for pigeons to poop on your deck or your balcony or whatever.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So the city decided that landlords are going to be responsible for cleaning up that poop. And if you don't clean it up, you get a summons Last year, they issued 295 of them.
Wow.
Who failed to clean up unsanitary pigeon conditions, compared to 228 tickets in 2022. So here's the question. You get a fine for not cleaning up pigeon poop. You paying it?
I mean, is it like the equivalent of not doing the brush clearance here?
Here's how it works. Property owners are typically first handed a commissioner's order allowing 5 days to clean up the mess before a follow-up inspection or risk being slammed with a $1,000 fine.
Wow.
So you get this commissioner's order. Clean up the pigeon poop.
It's not
How do
that
you handle
easy.
it?
It's not that easy, right? Like, you got to go out on the balcony and do that.
You
And then
need
can't
like a
just,
power washer,
yeah,
right?
but like you can't just, like, if you're down below, you can't just spray wash it. Like, you got to get somebody up on top of the building to do that. I think it's going to cost you more than $1,000 to get someone out on the building to pressure wash it.
Right. A councilwoman says property owners ignoring pigeon poop is a big problem in her district. It's unhealthy, unsightly, and has a direct negative impact on New Yorkers' quality of life. Really? Pigeon poop is a thing?
I mean, it's a thing, but then find the pigeons because we're going to get money from them better more than you're getting from those people.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. You're not getting any money out of me for not cleaning up pigeon poop.
Yeah, so one guy, a guy named David Rose, who lives in the Bronx, ripped the $1,000 summons he received on February 8th as unfair and unnecessary, especially since more serious issues, like rat infestation, only carry $300 fines.
Really?
So who do you side with? The city or the residents when it comes to cleaning up the pigeon poop?
Okay. This is going to be an unpopular take here.
No.
I side with the city.
You
No.
want people to clean up that poop?
Boo, hiss.
No, you got to clean up the poop. Like here's the thing. We're all in this together, right? Like we all, when you live in a city like New York, one of the things that I've lived in New York, okay?
I was just in New York. I didn't see any pigeon poop.
Well, you probably weren't like going up in the residential areas where it, you know, because the skyscrapers they all have people who clean them, the window washers.
Yeah.
But think about like if you don't stay ahead of things, then it gets worse. And the thing about poop is like they're just going to keep pooping. Like you can clean it once, and they're going to come back and keep pooping. Like, you know, this is something we got to keep up, right?
Yeah, if I get a $1,000 fine for pigeon poop, I don't think I'm paying it.
Momo, do you side with the HOA when your hedges are 1 inch too high?
This is different. Poop is different than how the hedges look. Like poop is just gross. Like
1 inch too high. That's it. $1,000 fine.
Like to me, it's you got to clean up pigeon poop because like you're walking by, like it's always going to keep happening, and everybody has to just decide this is just not something we want to live in a city full of pigeon poop. Like this is like New York. They have certain rules that. Do you know that you can't sleep in the park in New York?
No,
I learned this firsthand.
Why, you tried to sleep in the
Yeah,
park?
I took a red eye and I landed in my hotel room. It wasn't ready.
So you went out to the park.
So
and
I
took
went
a
out to
nap?
the park and I went on the bench and this cop woke me up and was like, "You can't sleep here, ma'am." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Never knew.
That's the thing. That's kind of how they keep New York from when you live in such a small city. Like when you walk around New York, everybody's jammed in there. So like everybody has to take care of their own area. Like you can't just let one area be full of pigeon poop. Everybody's got to make this a priority.
So my apartment complex, there's certain places, certain apartments that have balconies, right? And we all got a letter because I don't have a balcony, but all of us got a letter saying like if your balcony doesn't look nice, neat, and clean, and if there's any bird poop or any animal feces, whatever, because I have dogs, whatever, you will get fined. And then the fine wasn't $1,000. I think it was like $500, but it's still a steep fine. And I was like, who's really going to pay that? And my neighbor who does have a balcony and has a dog, she goes, I had to pay it. Like, my dog goes and does his business out there.
Really?
Like everybody's in there in this together. Like you can't just have like your yard be gross.
All
like
right,
you can't,
moral of this story seems to be clean up your poop. All right, coming up next, how far would you go to protect your sponsors?
Oh,
somebody tonight at the national championship game in Phoenix has gone above and beyond to protect a couple of sponsors. We'll have that story for you. And do you like to have a cocktail when you go to the movies? Beer, wine, anything else? There's one famous actor who says, alcohol and movies don't mix. We'll get into that next. Mason and Ireland, ESPN.
All right, Parker.
What's up, Greg?
Spring training. All right, Parker.
Jeez. Little Otani and Dodger blue.
Yeah, why are you looking at the camera?
I don't know. Let's start over.
All right, Parker. Dodger spring training.
That's right, Greg. Otani and Dodger blue.
Yeah, Yamamoto's here. Pretty excited about that one.
Tons of new faces. I mean, Kike's back.
Yes, it's great. Maybe we should talk about it on the ESPN LA YouTube channel.
I like that idea. What do you say, 9:30, 9:55?
Right, leading right into Travis and Sliwa. Get a couple guests.
Maybe Marcus Grant, Travis Rogers, perhaps?
Yep, just have a bunch of people come in. Maybe Clinton Yates will even find his way in.
Oh, you know, you always want to have the handsome man president right there.
Absolutely. All right, well, I think we should do that. We'll do it every day, Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 9:55 on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. Thanks to LAX.
Hey, I'm Dave Denholm.
And I'm Mario Rees.
You know us from the LAFC radio broadcasts.
Now we have a new podcast called LAFC Plus, and you can find it on the ESPN LA app.
LAFC Plus brings you all the latest on the black and gold.
Plus, we break down the latest news and interesting stories from around MLS.
For all the news, fun, insight, and everything that is MLS and LAFC, join us on LAFC Plus.
LAFC! It's available on the ESPN LA app and everywhere you get your podcasts.
Join us.
Big news, Laker fans. John Ireland here. You can now stream every Lakers game on the Don't miss a second of the action with Michael Thompson and I on the call. Plus, all your live and local Lakers talk every day in the palm of your hand.
You're one tap away from everything Lakers.
You could even win Lakers tickets.
Download the ESPN LA app and bam!
Download the ESPN LA app at the App Store and Google Play.
Purdue versus number 1 UConn. We will bring you all the coverage starting at 5 p.m. for your afternoon drive, right after the Sedano and Cap Power Hour, 5 p.m. College Hoops Action Jack, presented by Coors Light. Hey, California, grab an ice-cold Coors Light and choose chill today. 5 o'clock, Purdue, UConn, hear it here on the Southland's Mega Sports Station, 710 ESPN.
Right before you get to whatever we're going to get to, John, JoJo Jr. Shabadoo tweets and says, Ramona siding with the city tells me she was the kid in high school that would remind the teacher she forgot to collect the homework.
I don't understand where you got the 2X.
Right.
We were out. He was going to release us to go home, and you asked a question.
Was that you, Gorbachev?
No, I wasn't. I'm not like a total narc. I'm not. I just don't like pigeon poop.
Right.
And I like our city to be cleanly.
Oh, by the way, Greg,
like
when
I think
you
it's
watch-
everybody's responsibility to keep the city clean.
When you watch Curb, there will be a scene in Curb that will totally remind you of Steve Mason.
I can't wait.
Larry and Leon
Yeah.
are driving, and like me, they're late mergers.
Oh, my
And
God,
Allison
yes.
Janney is driving in her car. Allison Janney is dating Richard
Yes.
Lewis in this episode. And she's driving her car, and she's like Mason. She will not allow anybody to merge in.
Oh, no.
And they're like, hey, let us in, let us in. And she's like, nope, flips them like
Yeah.
total Mason. Like
So
yeah,
great.
so you'll
So
see
he
that.
he would like get in a wreck to prevent someone.
He says
from
he
cutting
will
in.
he will tailgate the person in front of him before he will allow me to merge late.
Wow.
Yeah, he hates late mergers.
Ridiculous.
I not only allow late mergers because
Yeah.
I am one.
Me too.
I think that's the
Same.
best way to go.
Me too. I think it takes longer if you don't do it.
Yeah, so there's this scene will totally remind you
It's so
of
good.
Mason.
Early mergers create traffic.
Yep.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Yeah. So Mason's the only early merger among us.
And I think they just feel so superior. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm like some moral high ground because they're early mergers.
Yeah, and all that does is slow everybody
Yeah.
else down. All right, so tonight, and we have this game for you on ESPN LA. UConn going for their second consecutive men's basketball title, taking on Purdue. Game starts at 5. Sedano and Cap are going to do an hour leading up to the game at 5. So it's going to be played at State Farm Stadium in Phoenix. Now, official corporate sponsors of the NCAA include Buick and Nissan. All right? They pay big money.
Yeah.
Ford is not an NCAA corporate sponsor, but inside the stadium, every cup holder, more than 60,000 seats, has a Ford logo on it. So look what they did. They basically went through the stadium, and on every seat,
Oh my gosh.
every single seat, they removed the Ford logo by putting a piece of black electrical tape over it.
Wow.
They made stadium workers take 61,000 strips of black tape to cover up Ford.
Wow.
So Buick and Nissan wouldn't be mad. Is that doing a great service for your sponsors or just a ridiculous example of over-managing something?
Yeah, over managing. That's ridiculous.
Greg, what do you think?
No, absolutely not. That's the exact right thing to do.
Brian?
Wow, so
I think if I was sitting there and I saw the tape, I would say this looks a little tacky. So I think that is kind of overmanaged.
But it's black on there. I think it works.
Personally, I think that's great because you're protecting your sponsors. They paid a lot of money,
100%.
and the
Okay.
people that were doing it got paid.
So
Absolutely.
I'm going to tell you a story I don't think I've ever told before. Greg, there may be 2 left that I've never told before ever.
Hey, keep them coming.
My job in college was I worked at Anheuser-Busch. I was the campus rep for Budweiser, greatest college job you can possibly have.
Okay. Were you 21 for this?
Yeah, right when I worked in the warehouse
Okay.
the summer before I turned 21. Then when I turned 21, I worked in the marketing department.
All right.
And so I went to a party during the Olympics, and all my bosses were there. And one of the bosses went to the bar to get a beer, and they only had Miller Lite and Coors. They didn't have any Bud. So he said, he asked for a Budweiser first. They didn't give it. He goes, just give me a Miller Lite. His boss walked in, saw him drinking a Miller Lite at the party, and fired him on the spot. Corporate loyalty is a really big, like if we had Tommy Lamb or any of our, even Morales, like anybody that deals with our partners here, what they would tell you is your partners are what matter. If Nissan and Buick are going to notice that it says Ford, and maybe one of them did and says something, you get rid of that Ford or risk losing the part. It is, for whatever reason, to me, I'm with you, Ramona. When I first saw this story, I went, wow, really? You're going to get 60,000 pieces of tape and make somebody do that? And then I remembered that story about that guy getting fired. Corporate loyalty is a huge deal to people that are in charge of brands.
Let's say that we're at the Mandy's, right?
Yeah.
It's at Commerce Casino. They are our partner. We are going to be putting ESPN LA everywhere. Let's say in the area that we were there, the chairs were bought from 570 or whatever, and it had AM 570 on there. While you're at doing a award show for 710, it says AM 570 everywhere.
We would cover them up.
We'd cover them up.
Would
100%.
We would make our road dogs take as much tape as they needed, and we would cover it up.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense. Ramona, I had the exact same reaction that you did, that, wow, this is too much. Or even, Brian, what you noticed, piece of tape, it looks a little tacky. I think to the people at Buick and Nissan, they appreciate the fact that the NCAA took care of them. Said they didn't have to do that, but they covered up 60,000 Ford things. And so tonight you will not see the word Ford anywhere in that stadium.
I bet they paid a lot of money to whoever owned the stadium.
Of course they did. But so you know what?
So that supersedes, I guess, the NCAA.
Well, here,
deal.
I'll give you another example of this. Do you guys remember the Redeem team, the one that came back and got the gold medal at the Olympics? It had LeBron and Wade and Kobe. And so a bunch of those guys were Nike guys.
Yeah.
But Reebok paid to sponsor all of the Olympic athletes. They were wearing Reebok sweatshirts.
Okay.
And the deal they had with the USOC was anybody receiving a medal on the medal stand has to wear the Reebok sweatshirt.
Okay.
So if you competed for any team, swimming, whatever, you had to wear the Reebok because they paid for it. LeBron came out from the beginning and said, Nike is like my dad. I'm not going against my dad. Kobe said the same. That's back when Kobe was in Nike, Wade, all those guys. They said, we're not doing it. And then the Olympic Committee came out and said, you are doing it or you're off the team.
Wow.
So you know what they did?
Huh.
You can go back and find pictures of this. They put the sweatsuit on that had the Reebok logo, and they all took white towels and put them around their necks to cover up the logo.
Jeez.
Because they couldn't. That's how insane these little corporate tug-of-wars are.
Wow.
It's a huge deal to people that are, and like, I remember now that NIL is here for college.
Yeah.
You have college coaches for years have had shoe deals. Like Mick Cronin has a shoe deal, and everybody at UCLA wears the Jordan brand shoes. If somebody else cuts an NIL deal with Adidas, now you got to let him wear the Adidas because he's got an NIL deal.
Oh.
So it's a whole new world out there. But I understand why they covered up all this stuff with the tape. It's a big deal to people that work at those companies. All right, coming up next, What's Up, Fool? We'll get Laura in here, get Brian in here, get Greg in here. They'll throw a bunch of stuff at us. Mason in Ireland, Momo in for Mase, ESPN LA.
All right, Parker.
What's up, Greg?
Spring training. All right, Parker.
Jeez. Little Otani and Dodger blue.
Yeah, why are you looking at the camera?
I don't know. Let's start over.
All right, Parker. Dodger spring training.
That's right, Greg. Otani and Dodger blue.
Yeah, Yamamoto's here. Pretty excited about that one.
Tons of new faces. I mean, Kike's back.
Yes, it's great. Maybe we should talk about it on the ESPN LA YouTube channel.
I like that idea. What do you say, 9:30, 9:55?
Right, leading right into Travis Sliwa. Get a couple guests.
Maybe Marcus Grant, Travis Rogers, perhaps?
Yep, just have a bunch of people come in. Maybe Clinton Yates will even find his way in.
Oh, you know, you always want to have the handsome man president right there.
Absolutely. All right, well, I think we should do that. We'll do it every day, Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 9:55 on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. Thanks to LAX.
Hey, I'm Dave Denholm.
And I'm Mario Rees.
You know us from the LAFC radio broadcasts.
Now we have a new podcast called LAFC Plus, and you can find it on the ESPN LA app.
LAFC Plus brings you all the latest on the black and gold.
Plus, we break down the latest news and interesting stories from around MLS.
For all the news, fun, insight, and everything that is MLS and LAFC, join us on LAFC Plus.
LAFC! It's available on the ESPN LA app and everywhere you get your podcasts.
Join us.
Take it away, guest voice.
What's Up, Fool is brought to you by Dos Hombres Mezcal. It's fate. It's friendship. It's mezcal. Dos Hombres.
Look at that. How do I follow that? I don't. So I simply say, take it away, Corporate Greg.
Thanks, Morales. All right, I got to do a little Bronny James talk here for a minute. So Shams Charania put this out. He said, when I talk to NBA teams, there's a clear consensus that as a defender, he's already at that caliber of an NBA defender. Is that going to change people's thought process on actually drafting Bronny?
The thing that you got to remember about Bronny is the kid you see now is not the player he's going to be 2-3 years from now. You would be drafting potential if you drafted him, or if he doesn't get drafted, invited him into camp. I think he jumps out of the gym. He's freaky athletic. I've seen worse players in the NBA than Bronny James, Momo. So I think he's going to get, and just because of his last name, he'll get invited to go to a camp. I don't know if he can stick on an NBA roster, but I think he can be competitive in the G League and give a chance and get a chance to show what he can do.
It's going to be really interesting because for a long time, LeBron maintained that he wanted to play with Bronny. And the rhetoric has changed a bit, which is that he wants to be on the same court as Bronny.
Okay.
In other words, he just wants to be in the league at the same time as him, not necessarily the same team. Well, I thought that gives up a bit of leverage, right? Because I thought Bronny's best leverage to getting drafted or getting on a team was like, well, if you draft Bronny, maybe LeBron will come play for you.
Right.
I'm not getting that sense right now. I think he goes test the water. I think he goes, works out for teams, goes to the pre-draft camp, gets a, if somebody promises him, that's what teams do. They'll give you a promise. We'll draft you if you fall to us here. If he gets a promise from the right organization, then I think he stays in the draft. If he doesn't, I think he goes back and transfers someplace.
All right, Greg, I said this on Friday, and I'll say it again. Don't rule this out. Eric Musselman, the guy that USC just hired to be the head coach, could sell ice to Eskimos. Yep. He's super impressive in person. I think he might line up an NIL deal for Bronny, get him $2-3 million, talk him into playing one more year at SC. I would not be shocked at all if that happens.
So he entered the transfer portal as well.
Right.
So
doesn't mean you have to go.
No, he can pull out, absolutely. But why wouldn't you? Let's say you're Charlotte. Why wouldn't you use a second-round pick on Bronny James and hope that you can get LeBron to go over there to play with him? And then sell tickets, sell merch, sell everything. You make your money back immediately if you somehow get LeBron to go over there.
I don't think LeBron would go play in Charlotte.
I don't either.
I think LeBron's all about trying to play with other great players like AD and win titles. And I think that if he goes to another team, it would be a team with a chance to win a ring. I don't think he's going to Charlotte.
It's
Yeah.
more so than playing with your son. Because if you could play with him, because then
I go back to what Ramona said. He used to say he wanted to play with him. Now he just wants to be on the same court as him. I think one guy's winding down his career. The other guy's just starting. I don't think it's going to be a deal breaker.
Well, it's also playing on the Lakers may not be the best thing for Bronny.
Right.
In his development, he might be better served on a young team like Charlotte, where he would get some run, and he'd have a longer window without all the pressure.
Yeah, but if the Lakers do draft him, put him 15th on the bench instead of Colin Castleton or, Maxwell Lewis, who are first-round pick for Maxwell Lewis, but that 15th spot is not the biggest steal in the world.
Nope.
It's a two-way player.
Yep.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility the Lakers do that.
Yeah, either do I.
What's up, Foo?
All right, guys. So a former MLB baseball player, J.J. Hardy, is in the news in Arizona, Chandler, Arizona, because of his backyard plans for his house.
Okay.
So a bunch of his neighbors, surrounding neighbors, have complained and signed a petition because he is building a miniature field of dreams, a miniature baseball field in his backyard.
Okay.
The initial pictures look pretty sick, but the thing that they had a problem with is he put up like 5 or 6 20-foot poles, and either
So
to
you
put
can play at
lights,
night.
and then he's going to put a net up too. So obviously, no balls are leaving the field.
Right.
All the neighbors seem to be complaining. There's even like, oh, this isn't a Top Golf. I've been living here for 20 years. Like, what's going on? I think this is a missed opportunity. If I'm his neighbor, this is the coolest thing that can happen is a miniature field of dreams in my neighbor's backyard. Would you agree with that?
I would have to see how it affects the view of the neighbors who are complaining. But in Phoenix, there isn't a view of very much.
No.
But I agree. As long as he'd let me come over and play every once in a while, I'd be okay with it.
I'm a no on that one. I think it's like
you have 2 boys. You wouldn't want him to go over there and play.
What is this going to be used for? It's like not zone. I mean, is it zoned for this? Is this like a neighborhood? Is this?
It's all in his backyard.
Are they going to have like tournaments here? And then now I'm going to deal with everybody. It's like when you move to a neighborhood, you don't want to live right next to a school because then you're going to have school traffic every day.
That was the main person who led the complaint. Was like her whole thing was we didn't sign up to live next to Top Golf.
Yeah.
Like there's not a people coming and going kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I'd have to see. I'd need pictures or maybe like to see videos of it. But my initial response is I'd be okay with it. You're the opposite.
Yeah, I guess I'm like get off my lawn person. I mean, between me and that and the pigeon poop, I'm all
there. You go. All right.
Now finally,
What's up, Foo? All right, guys. I actually just sent you a text message because there's rumors circulating that this is a logo that for Victor Wembanyama.
Oh, it's so cool.
For his shoe. And I wanted to know your thoughts on it. I think it looks super dope. I just showed Greg, and he was like, yeah. But on top of your thoughts on this, I also wanted to know what your logo to your shoe would be.
Well, mine would be easy to be a 4-leaf clover because I'm Irish. But this looks like an alien.
It's so cool.
It looks
and
cool.
that's what
Very
LeBron
cool.
called Wemby. Is he's an alien? I love this.
I think
it's
Wemby is
great.
like every time I see Wemby highlights, I'm like, unbelievable. Do you think he should be Defensive Player of the Year?
I do.
You do.
I do. I think
too.
he affects more shots than anybody in the league.
I know.
I saw Rudy Gobert play last night. He's great, but he's not Wemby.
No.
Yeah, I mean, only one other rookie has ever won Defensive Player of the Year. You know who it is?
Tim Duncan?
Nope.
Who?
Manute Bol.
Wow. Okay.
That's it. But, I would vote for him. I don't think he's going to win. I think it'll probably go to Gobert, but because Minnesota's in first place.
Yeah.
But I love Wembanyama. I think he's going to be the face of the league for 20 years. And Laura, I love that alien-looking logo.
So
I think it's
cool.
great.
Oh, yeah, I loved it. When I saw it, I was like, I want those shoes.
What's up, Foo?
All right, guys. So yesterday was the 31st anniversary of my favorite sports movie of all time, The Sandlot. I think it's iconic, especially what it did for just the kids and baseball kind of thing.
Right. Have you ever talked to Lindsay about this?
I don't
That's,
think I
think, her favorite movie, too.
Okay, nice.
Well,
Yeah,
one
I
of
mean,
them. Yeah.
how can you not love it, first of all?
Great movie.
But what would your most iconic sports movie be in your eyes?
Oh, that's a great question.
I mean, I always go with Bull Durham. That's my jam.
Bull Durham is the best baseball movie of all time.
It is.
Because I'm a basketball nut, I would probably go Hoosiers.
Yeah, I love Hoosiers.
But it could be.
I
love all the Ron Shelton movies. I love Tin Cup. I love Bull Durham.
Yeah.
I think those are all good.
What was the one with Denzel
Rocky
Washington,
is technically a sports movie.
Oh yeah,
Remember
that's
the
true.
Titans?
Remember the Titans was really
great.
good.
Yeah. You know what's a really, really underrated movie is Cinderella Man. Have you guys ever seen
the
that?
boxing
I don't think I
movie.
have, actually.
Yeah, with Ron Howard did it. Paul Giamatti won an Oscar for playing Russell Crowe's manager. It's about a guy. It's a true story about a guy who fights Gentleman Jim Braddock, who is in the Depression. He's working on the docks because he can't find work, can't find a job, and then he works his way out of poverty and becomes the heavyweight champ. And it's really good.
What about Moneyball? Is that up there?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's good.
It's a
I
fantastic
like it.
movie. But yeah, Sandlot is the best movie of all sports movies.
No.
Lindsay is absolutely it's
no,
amazing.
Bad News,
It's amazing.
Bad News Bears is better than Sandlot.
No,
so is
it's great. Both great movies.
Bull Durham.
So is Bull Durham.
Major League. I love
Depends on what
Major
you're.
League.
Yeah, Major League. If you want like funny, it depends on what you're
Yeah.
looking for. If you want a more serious, you go with like a Remember the Titans or Hoosiers. But if you want funnier, I think it's definitely Sandlot. Amazing movie.
Yeah, maybe even more of a family, family
I love
sports
The Sandlot.
movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
What's up, Foo?
All right, guys. So this weekend was action-packed. A lot of things were going on, right? The NCAA, Lakers. But something that I haven't been excited for happened this weekend, WrestleMania. I have not seen it in a long time, but I caught myself watching it, and I was like, where have I been? I feel like with The Rock coming back and having, like, The Undertaker be a part of it, I was glued in. Did you guys catch any of it?
Moment of honesty. Have never watched I'm not a wrestling guy, so I've never watched WrestleMania. But boy, the reviews last night. I have a lot of friends who love wrestling. They said this was as good of a WrestleMania.
So tell me what happened.
As ever. Michael will be
It's
here
all
tomorrow, and I'm sure Michael's watched all of it. But just because it's scripted doesn't mean it's bad. It can still be entertaining.
I stopped watching as soon as I found out it was fake.
I mean, it is, but
It's kind of fun. It is fun.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey
Laura,
was in it,
bring
right?
This,
the
bring
the
this
Rock
up
was
again
there.
tomorrow when Michael's here.
Okay,
'cause
I'll
he
bring it back
loves-
up.
He loves wrestling, and he'll have an opinion on
By
it.
the way, Nevin's mad that we didn't go with Rocky with the sports movie.
Well, it's probably the most
great movie.
decorated sports
It won some
movie of
Academy
all time.
Awards and stuff.
Best Picture.
Yeah.
But Rocky 4 is the best of the Rockies, no?
No.
Rocky won.
Rocky
Rocky
it's a
one
good one.
is-
Just because the first doesn't always mean it's the best.
Yeah, but Rocky 1's really, really good.
It is. Rocky 4 is so good.
The Rocky 4 is the one with Ivan Drago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
love
will
that movie.
break you.
Yeah, that was really good, too.
If he dies, he dies.
All right.
See? Iconic.
Yeah. I'll work. Anybody else got any more? We did. All right, we're good. Okay, coming up next, I'll get to that story about do alcohol and going to the movies mix, and
it's just going to make me fall asleep.
Major League Baseball, that's part of this guy's argument.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball did something really stupid. They've been so good with the new rules and everything they've implemented over the past couple of years. Took a big step back over the weekend with something that involves the Angels. We'll share that with you. Coming up next, Momo in for Mase. I'm John Ireland, ESPN LA.
So apparently... Brands radio station.
ESPN 710, Los Angeles.
sports.
And it is the biggest show on the radio. Mason and Ireland is on for your Monday afternoon.
And let somebody else lead the show, which I think is bullshit.
Here we go. Monday. It's Masters Week, and Mason is on spring break, which means today, Johnny I, the voice of your Lakers, who will tell us what exactly happened last night, and will LeBron play in any of the 3 games coming up for the final week of the season. Also, Ramona Shelburne is sitting in, Momo. And of course, last week, we had that whole bit about the A chair, the B chair, and Johnny I on Friday had an offer for Corporate Greg.
On Monday, it's me and Momo.
Yes.
If you want me to, I will be the B. But you got to come up with the content. Because the hardest thing about being the A.
Yes, it is.
Is coming up. Like everything in the show today, I came up with.
What will happen today? ... Let us begin. Celebrating their 20th anniversary on ESPN Los Angeles.
I am sticking up for John, my friend, my partner. He should be the A.
Mason and Ireland Monday edition. Ireland and Momo right now.
All right, 2 hours down, 1 more to go, and then Sedano and Kappa coming in here.
For an hour.
3 o'clock, growl.
For 1 hour. Why didn't we do a combo plate?
Because there's a whole bunch of stuff behind the scenes that makes it so we could not.
But we're doing combo plate tomorrow.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
1 to 3.
All right, so... tomorrow it's me and DeMarco and Michael and Pepe will be in here, and huge game tomorrow night, Lakers-Warriors.
Everything tomorrow.
Basically, this is it. If the Lakers win this game, I think that means they're at least the 9, maybe the 7 or the 8. If they lose, they're probably going to be the 10.
Yep.
It's that simple. And if they're the 10, that means they'd have to win 2 road 1-game playoffs. Just have the honor of going in the first round up against Denver or Minnesota or somebody really good. So hopefully they can win tomorrow night, and that will open the door. Now, I mentioned this earlier. You know who Danny McBride is? Do you ever watch Eastbound and Down?
Uh-uh.
Oh, it's so good. It was on HBO. He played a minor league pitcher. He was just really, he's a fairly famous act. He was on the Righteous Gemstones, Vice Principals. He's been in a lot of stuff. He is the subject of a profile in GQ. And here's what he's railing against. Booze being served at movie theaters. Here's what he says. Quote, I hate it. I can't stand it. I also don't think it makes sense to combine booze with movies. You're going to have to, I'll just say, go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Doesn't alcohol want to make you get up and get loose? You don't want to just sit there, drink beer, and just be quiet. I would have no interest in going to see a movie and just pounding IPAs. I would just effing fall asleep, McBride told GQ. Greg, is Danny McBride right?
100%. I just can't. I've never been able to drink alcohol and watch a movie. I fall asleep. I don't need to be. I'm going to forget the movie because I'm going to have booze inside of me. I don't know. For me, I want to just sit down sober. It's also a dark room. Why do you need me drunk in the middle of a dark room and can't move?
Listen, I went to a play yesterday, because I knew this actor who was
it any good?
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was over at the Getty in Malibu, which is like a really nice place to go anyway. Right. And we're in a dark theater. And I'm like, I don't care how good this play is, I'm falling asleep. Like, you just sit in a dark room like that, you're going to fall asleep.
By the way,
totally with you, Momo.
As you know, I tend to fall asleep if
All
I
the time.
sit down for too long.
Yeah, I know. So I have to keep standing up during the show. I get tired.
And I'm better at it now. Now I just don't sleep at all. But the one thing I will tell you is that if I went to a play, those seats are so comfortable, I'd be terrified of falling asleep and having somebody on the stage see me.
I know. That's why I don't sit in front.
And
sit where no one can see me.
It's like anything more insulting than falling asleep at somebody's play.
I know, especially when the actor and they invited you. And
God, awful.
If you pull out a Pez dispenser and make them laugh, that would actually.
There you go.
If you get a little toasty, for drinking some alcohol before the thing, then you're in a dark room. Then it's all cozy, especially with those recliner seats. Good night.
Right. Brian, what do you think? Do alcohol and movies mix?
In limit, yeah. The movie theaters I go to now, they don't have like a full bar, but they have beer and wine. Nothing's better than a nice cold beer going in there with some popcorn and a pretzel.
So you're okay with it. Laura, how about you?
Oh, I'm in, man. You don't have to get drunk. One drink. I go to the Alamo Draft House. They serve a nice cocktail with a good little snack. I'm all in.
Okay, I wanted to get this story in here also. The Angels, thank you, have a first baseman named Nolan Schonnell, who entered Friday with a 35-game on-base streak to start his career.
Wow.
First 35 games of his career, he got on base. But then, during the game on Friday, with the streak still active, Major League Baseball announced that his streak had actually ended at 30 games back on March 30th because they changed an infield single in the 9th inning against the Orioles to a dropped catch error. If not for the change, if they would have done nothing, Schonnell would have extended his on-base streak to 36 games on Friday. The Angel announcers, Mark Gubizza, who we love.
Yeah.
Gooby is a great guy. We all know him. We've worked with him before. And a guy named Wayne Rendazzo were doing the game when this announcement came down.
Yeah.
And they were not having it. Here's what they said.
Negative story after negative story, scandal after scandal, a fiasco in Oakland. You have these ridiculous-looking jerseys. You have the MLBPA challenging the league about the pitch clock today because of constant pitcher injuries. And yet, not to mention your global superstar is embroiled in a betting scandal. But on top of all of that, you have a young player trying to make a name for himself who has come up and reached base safely in every single game that he has played. And the league allows this scoring change to go on to end his streak, kill this story, a positive story that's happening in Major League Baseball. It is an absurdity.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about all the positivity from all over the social media world, how it pressed everybody to start your career. He was this in college last year. He was still playing college baseball at this point. And then to have that taken away on a base hit. It was a base hit.
It was a clear hit. It wasn't even really a borderline call. It was a clear base hit.
Wow. Yeah, like I said in the pregame show, the NBA doesn't take an assist away from LeBron James, and he's got a triple-double, and he's trying to add on that record. It just doesn't happen.
All right, Greg Bergman, you are the host of the Blue Review. You talk baseball every single day. What do you think of MLB retroactively going back and turning a hit into an error?
I need to go see the actual hit. If it is a dropped ball, if the guy dropped the ball at third base or whatever it happens to be, and it was an error, then he should have been taken away.
Momo, what do you think?
I agree with the announcers. I think it's really stupid. I think things happen all the time in the moment it's a weird score. Like, it'd be one thing if it was like right after the game. But to do it like 3 or 4 days later, it's like, remember the last time the Lakers and Warriors played and they went back and overruled this LeBron James 3, like it was like 45 seconds later.
Right.
And they go, oh, actually, that was a 2. And it totally changed the game. And then there was another play with Steph. I mean, it was just, there needs to be like a statute of limitations on something. It's got to happen right afterwards.
I agree with you.
Get the call right.
And, well, no, Greg, if people seem to think that the most important thing is getting the call right. The most important thing is not screwing up the flow of the game.
Yeah.
That's why I want to get rid of replay, because there's too many interruptions. If you go to a movie or a play, you mentioned you went to a play yesterday.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if, like, in the middle of the play, somebody came in from the sidelines and said, we messed up that scene.
Yeah.
Go back and do it again.
Yeah, remember the end of the Lakers-Warriors game?
Doing?
Where there was an 11-minute delay?
Right, 21 minutes.
Oh, 21 minutes.
Yeah.
That was such a stupid game, and now we look what the season comes down to. It could come down to that game.
Right, and I could not agree with Wayne and Gooby more. What are we doing? We had all moved on. Calls it, and Greg, you know this, that every error is a judgment call by the official scorer.
Ooh, I just watched it.
And I mean, if you and I think I've watched it, I've seen it too, Greg. I think you could. It does look like it could be an error, but if
it
they
is
ruled,
an error.
Wait a minute. If they ruled it a hit, I've seen worse.
They've done it before. Just because it was on this play, they've gone back and retroactively
Right, but I think they
things
should.
all the time.
My argument
just,
is they should
just because
stop
he had a
that.
strict. Yeah, well, okay, sure, but I mean, they do it right now. That's not the rule right now. So according to this, what I'm watching, that's an error.
Wait a minute, but hold.
Why did it take 4 days to figure this out?
That's my point. There are missed calls in every game. This is going back to at the very beginning of the show. I told a story about how I sent out what I thought was a fairly innocuous tweet, saying that I would not have called that moving screen on UConn against Iowa on Friday, and people came at me with venom. That was a foul. If it's a foul in the fourth quarter, it might have been a foul. But you know what, guys? Calls are missed all the time.
Yep.
My whole argument was because you didn't call moving screens in the first quarter, maybe you don't call it with 3 seconds left in a 1-point game. In this case, Greg.
What if he breaks a record?
Wait a minute, though. Every streak is the beneficiary of a good call somewhere along the way. When Tyus Edney went coast to coast,
There was nothing wrong with that play. Everything was perfect.
okay, and threw it up right before the buzzer.
Yeah.
It would be like, let's say at the beginning of that play, he took a step before he dribbled.
Yeah.
All right?
It didn't happen, though. We can't look at that like that.
Right, but here's what I'm saying. You don't go back and say, wait a minute, that was traveling.
Yeah.
This kid, they had already, once a game, would anybody have a problem with this? Once a game is officially over.
Right.
Okay? It's in the books. The final out has been recorded. That's it. It's an official game. The rulings all stand. What are we doing going back, especially to the point Wayne made, going back after it has been decided, the streak's going on? Why would you intentionally put a negative? I mean, I don't get it. Laura, where are you on this?
I'm with you, actually. Like, if the game's over, let it be over. If you want to review calls to get them right for future games, that's fine. But don't go back and be like, oh, we messed up there. Let's correct that.
They don't review it till later, though. So I just think, is it the same as in golf when you sign a scorecard, right?
That's it.
If you sign it right. Well, no, but if they go back and look and your math is wrong and you signed it, you get disqualified.
Correct, because you signed for it. But once you sign it, that means this is what I scored.
Yes.
That's it. That's why you get thrown out after the fact. If you wrote down a wrong number, then don't sign it. Go back and double and triple check it. But once you sign it, that's it. But
then they go back and check it, and if it's wrong.
Right. But the difference is, in baseball, this was ruled a hit. Okay? The official scorer.
He reviewed it, and it was not a hit.
But wait a minute. He reviewed it in real time. The official here's how baseball works. A play happens. Yeah. The official scorer is in the press box. He is sitting there, and he has the ability to look at the play and review it, look at it 2 or 3 times, and then make a ruling. All right?
Did this get reviewed?
Of course, it all plays.
No. Within the game, like in the game, did they have it reviewed to see if he did get a hit or not? Like that he was on base?
No, there was no reason to review it because it wasn't appealed. But I'm just saying. So
right.
The official scorer's ruling though was hit. Mm-hmm. So once you've gotten to the next inning, okay, if you want to go back and say, hey, we're in the 8th inning now. In the 6th inning, I've gone back and looked at that, and after further review, it was an error. Okay. 20 minutes later.
Yeah.
I can live with that. What I can't live with, to Ramona's point, is 5 days after the fact saying, hey, you know what? We've had 5 days to think about it, and we're going to change the call to an error. What are we doing here?
If you even gave him till the next morning, like, okay, once the next game starts.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a little wiggle room, but 4 or 5 days later, it's stupid.
Seems like a long time. I mean, looking at the play, though, it should have been called immediately. That's an error.
Yeah.
There's nothing more. That is an absolute error.
Yeah, but I don't think it's absolute at all. I think it's a coin flip.
If
you and I were sitting next to each other in the press box, I probably would have, first glance, called it an error. But if you would have called it a hit, I would have gone, I kind of disagree with you, but it's close. Yeah, I don't think it's absolute.
No, it may not be absolute, but looking at it, to me, I'm saying, yep, error.
But I just don't. I think even if it was, going back and changing it 4 or 5 days after the fact is BS. You shouldn't do it. All right. Coming up next, let's say you have a friend. Your friend's kind of famous.
Okay.
All right. She can make $100 million if she starts an OnlyFans account. $100 million. What would you tell her to do? We'll get into that coming up next. And also, something happened over the weekend, Greg, at the tournament in Phoenix at the Final Four. Championship game is tonight. I don't know how they executed it, but we should do it to Mason.
Okay.
And I'm going to play it for you next. Before I do, let me tell you that it's Masters Week, and if you listen all week long to the Travis and Sliwa Show, you can qualify to win the ultimate golf and spa luxury experience at Pacific Palms Resort, LA's Hilltop Hideaway and #1 work and play resort. And just for qualifying, you get a $50 gift card to the lavish Red Restaurant at Pacific Palms. Celebrate Masters Week all week long on the Travis and Sliwa Show with Pacific Palms Resort and 710 ESPN. All right, I'm going to explain this trick that I want to pull on Mason. Brian, I'm going to need your help if we're going to pull it off. And $100 million just for having an OnlyFans account. Is that one of those things that's too good to pass up? We'll explain coming up next, ESPN LA.
Big news, Laker fans. John Ireland here. You can now stream every Lakers game on the ESPN LA app. Don't miss a second of the action with Michael Thompson and I on the call. Plus, all your live and local Lakers talk every day in the palm of your hand.
You're one tap away from everything Lakers.
You could even win Lakers tickets.
Download the ESPN LA app. And bam!
Download the ESPN LA app at the App Store and Google Play.
All right, Parker.
What's up, Greg?
Spring training. All right, Parker.
Jeez. Little Otani and Dodger blue.
Yeah, why are you looking at the camera?
I don't know. Let's start over.
All right, Parker. Dodger spring training.
That's right, Greg. Otani and Dodger blue.
Yeah, Yamamoto's here. Pretty excited about that one.
Tons of new faces. I mean, Kike's back.
Yes, it's great. Maybe we should talk about it on the ESPN LA YouTube channel.
I like that idea. What do you say, 9:30, 9:55?
Right, leading right into Travis and Sliwa. Get a couple guests.
Maybe Marcus Grant, Travis Rogers, perhaps?
Yep, just have a bunch of people come in. Maybe Clinton Yates will even find his way in.
Oh, you always want to have the handsome man president right there.
Absolutely. All right, well, I think we should do that. We'll do it every day, Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 9:55 on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. Thanks to LAX.
Madness Monday right here on 710 ESPN. Tonight, the men's NCAA National Championship game, a battle of number one Purdue versus number 1 UConn. We will bring you all the coverage starting at 5 p.m. for your afternoon drive, right after the Sedano and Cap Power Hour, 5 p.m. College hoops action, Jack. Driven by Subaru of Glendale. Your next Subaru is waiting for you now at Subaru of Glendale. 5 o'clock, Purdue, UConn, hear it here on the Southland's Mega Sports Station, 710 ESPN.
Hey, Chris, this is for you, Chris Morales. As we get ready for the road to Robert's redemption and another season of Real Dodgers Talk, the Blue Review with corporate Greg Bergman is back. Don't miss your first chance to talk about the boys in blue in your morning. Weekday mornings at 9:30 on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. The Blue Review presented by LAX, where change is in the air.
All right.
Right, it is.
Bergman, is this true?
I don't know.
I heard a rumor. Are you hosting the Blue Review tomorrow?
I am hosting the Blue Review
Is
with
it
Parker
true
Bell.
that you and Parker have a guest?
We have an actual guest, and it's not from a fan site.
So, who's the guest?
Fabian Ardaya from The Athletic.
All right.
Really good writer. Really,
Okay.
really good writer.
So, did it ever occur to you, perhaps, to invite Fabian onto the show rather than your stupid 5-minute Blue Review vanity project?
Whoa. First of all, it's not stupid, and it's live, and it's for 25 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, and it's all Dodgers-based.
So you're allowed to have guests on the Blue
Yeah,
Review,
it's
but
all
we're not allowed to have
Dodger-based.
guests on this show? How is that
No,
equitable?
because this show is all about you. It's about Mason and Ireland, not about Mason, Ireland, and Fabian Ardaya.
No, I want it to be about Mason Ireland and Fabian Ardaya. You won't allow guests on, so you'll allow guests on your show, but not on our show.
Yes, because it's Dodger specific.
Oh, please. All right, but I need your help on something.
Okay.
All right, so, well, Brian, you or Greg, maybe Laura, you might know too.
Okay.
So TNT did something over the weekend that I want to do to Mason.
I'm in. I don't even know what it is, but I'm in.
Okay.
I'm
I mean, by the way,
questionable.
you guys, wait. Before you get
Soft
into this
yes
thing,
here.
everybody, if you have not seen Steve Mason' new Instagram thirst
dear
trap
God.
photo,
So good.
It's never. It's not as good as the one in the waterfall.
When he was naked in the waterfall, this is pretty close.
I think this one might be
Yeah.
worse.
It's
Yeah,
so
I
good.
agree with you,
So
Greg. All right, here's what I want to do to Mason. This has to be some type, Brian. You're going to need to look it up. This has to be some type of sound effect. One of the three of you, Brian, Greg, Laura, will know how to execute this. I just want it to happen to Mason. So over the weekend, TNT was doing their studio show from the Final Four. So it was Clark Kellogg, Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, and Charles Barkley. And they threw it to Barkley. And you know how your voice sounds after you suck in helium?
Okay.
They changed Barkley's voice to a helium voice, but they didn't tell him. But he had an earpiece in, and it sounded like this.
Always, Chuckster, a magnificent job with you and your fellow cast members on the Capital One spots, especially this one with the balloon.
Well, shut up. I hate y'all, man.
You sound marvelous, man.
Oh my
you
God.
sound like.
What's the point,
What you
Chuck?
saying?
What's the
Say
point?
it again. I want to hear that.
I just want to give a shout out to the great Sam Jackson, Spike Lee, Jennifer Garner, Jim Nance.
You know what?
Hey, man, I really hate y'all.
All right, you think we can do it?
How did he do that?
Brian, is it doable?
I don't know, honestly.
We'd have to mess with the processing.
Yeah, we would
probably.
have to
Yeah,
mess.
so
and,
I need.
All right, look into it for me, will you?
Yeah, we might have to. We have till next week, so we have some
Right,
time.
and you know he'll go, okay, joke's over, fine, and then if we keep doing it to him,
It's gonna
it's
really
like that
tick him
time.
off.
It's like that time when I put like 10 times. I'm sitting in Mason's seat today, and there were like all the sound, like what I just played, runs off of this board, and it has I don't know, Greg, 40, 50 different clips I can play. And I put the song "It's Raining Men"
Oh my
on
God.
like 10 random ones.
Yeah.
So he would make, okay, here is Sean McVay talking about Seattle. And we would hit it, and it would just
that's
immediately,
great.
"It's Raining Men."
So good.
And he'd be like, and then he'd go, forget that. Here's Dave Roberts. "It's Raining Men." So I think we need to work in the, we need to
Alvin
work.
and the Chipmunks voice.
Yeah, we need to work in the helium voice. Okay, so this comes from the New York Post, Momo, and
Yeah.
because it comes from the New York Post, it has to be factual.
Of course.
they would never write anything embellished in any way. So, did you? I think you probably did. Did you grow up a Britney Spears fan?
Ish.
Okay.
Ish. Okay.
So Britney has sworn she kind of got chewed up and spit out by the music industry.
Oh, I read the book.
Yeah. So,
Actually, I listened to it on Audible. But
okay.
Yeah.
So she's kind of done with being treated that way by the music industry. She says she'll never go back to it. She's done recording. She's done doing albums.
We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, when she runs out of money, she
Yeah,
probably will. But someone has come up with a way to make sure she doesn't run out of money. So, according to the New York Post, now keep in mind, Britney has been pretty racy before. Okay.
Oh, I mean, her Instagram feed is.
Yeah.
Yep.
like,
Yep.
I'm like, oh, can you post that? Oh.
Right. I'm looking at a couple of pictures of her
Yeah.
that she posted topless, and she's had some racy stuff out there. An OnlyFans manager says that she would rake in $100 million per year if she joined the subscription site. She said that Britney has come out. She's 42. She's come out and said she'll never make another album. And she frequently shares selfies and videos on her Instagram account that are racy.
Yeah.
But this dude says if she would get naked on Instagram, here's his quote. It's a woman, actually. Her name is Celeste Franklin.
Yeah.
Quote, according to all the statistics I've examined, my prediction for her earnings would be that the first month of the launch would bring in a massive influx of people, possibly making her earnings range anywhere from 13 to 18 million in the first month.
Wow.
So, let's say you're friends with Britney. And by the way, to conclude this, Franklin says...
I wish I was friends with Britney.
In the following months, her income would most likely level out to about 6 to 9 million a month, which would mean 100 million in the first year.
Wow.
The approximately 65% of her 42 million Instagram followers are women, but Franklin believes Spears might not want to get much more explicit because she would lose some of those female fans, but just to get a little bit racy. And I'm looking at pictures from her Instagram feed. She's naked all the time.
She's kind of already doing it.
Right. But
She's
what
just
this
giving
guy
it
is
away for
saying
free.
is correct. So would you advise her, since she's already kind of doing it, to open an OnlyFans account or stay away?
100% do it. I mean, she's pretty much already doing an OnlyFans account on Instagram. Like, she just gives away all this, like eye-popping on content. And I feel bad for her. Like, I listened to her book and all the things that happened to her. I mean, obviously, it's her version of the story. I'm sure there's other versions of the story, but she should be profiting off this stuff, off herself.
Right,
Somebody
so
else should be profiting instead of all the people who are conservators and all this stuff.
Right. So rapper Iggy Azalea revealed that she's made a fortune after joining the platform last year. Unverified reports claiming she's already earned about $48 million. Meanwhile, Baywatch star Denise Richards. Was Denise Richards on Baywatch? I don't remember her being on Baywatch. But Denise Richards, who's been on Real Housewives and was married to Charlie Sheen. She's been in a bunch of movies. She was a Bond girl once. Is reported to make about $2 million a month since signing up for the site last year. So, Greg, if she can make $100 million, would you encourage her to do it?
I mean, if she wants to, yeah, go right ahead. If you want to be on OnlyFans, you can make a lot of money. So if she wants to do it, but she's doing it right now. But
she's not, like Ramona said, she's not paying. But Laura, what do you think?
Yeah.
So I'm all in. Like Greg said, if she wants to do it, go for
Cool.
it. I
Have at
want to
it.
know how I become somebody's OnlyFans manager because there's money to be made there, and I want to know that gig.
Just reach out to the OnlyFans people and say, hey, I got...
I
Or
mean-
go talk to the ladies.
I want to know.
Momo,
I wanna
are you
know.
on Cameo?
No, and I wish I was.
So Worthy keeps trying to talk me into going on Cameo.
You should do it.
I have Mason's on it.
Yeah. Somebody
here's
finally
why-
reached out to me. I should
yeah,
totally do it.
Here's why I haven't done it yet. I would do that for free. You know?
Probably, yeah.
I would, if somebody needed me to do a video, I think I would do it for free. But
Yeah.
But
do it for $1. So it's like you're there. It's not. It's like a. I'm not saying like you want to
do
do
it
it
for
that
$10
cheap.
and donate it to charity. if you
Yeah,
want.
something like that.
Yeah, I don't think that many people want to hear from me.
John, you're in the Southern California Broadcasting
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
You're the Lakers play-by-play announcer.
Yeah, I don't know.
You do Mason and Ireland on 710. Like,
It's
what
a
are we talking about
very
here?
Mason move.
Yeah,
you know? It
yeah,
is
I know
like-
what you're saying.
Like Mason would do cameos from that jacuzzi, Greg, while he's holding the pipe.
I'm surprised he didn't.
Yeah,
so good.
You know, it's more up the alley of like Mase, Cappy.
Yeah.
I think me and Sedano, like, I doubt Sedano is on cameo. He might be. I'll ask him when he gets here.
100% is.
He is?
I don't know
No,
for
I
sure.
don't know if Cappy is, but do you think Sedano is?
Sedano,
I think Sedano
nah.
probably feels the same way I do about it.
Probably
like, yeah, if you need a video, I'll just do it.
You can ask him a little bit later today because this afternoon at 4 p.m., guess who's back? Sedano and Cap are back.
I
from
haven't
break.
seen those guys in ages.
I know. And they've got a power hour ready for you before the walk-up to tonight's NCAA Men's National Championship at 5 o'clock. Don't miss the Waba Grill Sedano and Cap 4 p.m. hour today on 710. Waba Grill wants to help you make dinner time a little bit easier with their new Kids Eat Free program. Get a free chicken or tofu mini bowl with any entree purchase weekdays after 4 p.m. and all weekend long.
Greg, look at that professional read.
Thank you very much.
Did you work on that all weekend?
Yes, in the mirror. Just
In the
I
mirror?
put that read up to it.
You know what? I do like. I'm not just saying that. I actually like.
and I got to
Whopper
do
Grill.
a
I go there all the
ZipRecruiter.
time. That's like when you're trying to eat healthy. It's a good spot to go.
No, Whopper Grill is delicious. And
It's
if
good,
you're getting something free for your
Yeah,
kid, that's
so
amazing.
good.
All right, huge Laker game tomorrow night. We talked about it in the first hour. We will tell you why it's so important. And are the Clippers broken? I can't figure it out. We'll get it. We'll talk about that coming up too. By the way, Game of Games coming up. Bergman's game today. That's in about 10-15 minutes. Mason and Ireland. Momo in for Mase. ESPN LA.
Madness Monday right here on 710 ESPN. Tonight, the men's NCAA National Championship game, a battle of number one Purdue versus number one UConn. We will bring you all the coverage starting at 5 p.m. for your afternoon drive, right after the Sedano and Cap Power Hour, 5 p.m. College Hoops Action Jack, presented by Coors Light. Hey, California, grab an ice cold Coors Light and choose chill today. 5 o'clock, Purdue, UConn, hear it here on the Southland's Mega Sports Station, 710 ESPN.
All right, Mason in Ireland. We are Brian. What is this?
Suavecito.
Oh, this is Mason and his hair.
Yeah. This is Laura Leon, by the way.
Although, Bergman, you had a good idea. Somebody tweeted in that if I went on Cameo, people could send me clips of their kids and I could do play-by-play.
Yeah.
I would do that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That'd be fun.
That'd be a great one.
What should I charge?
$25. Low, reasonable.
You're gonna be doing this all day. You charge $25. Gotta be 50.
I think. Well, I'll find. I don't.
Yeah.
I still don't.
Gotta
think
charge more than Mason.
What does he charge?
I don't know, but it's gotta be. You gotta hold that.
$1 more.
What is Yeah, I will. I'll do it for $1 more than Mason.
Is it like $15 that he charges?
I think he's 25.
Oh, okay.
If he charges $13, I'm not charging 14. I'm going more than that. Okay, Ramona, let me ask you a question. What should I make of the Clippers? They look so good in December and January. They looked horrible in March. They've won 3 games in a row in April. They're playing without Kawhi. They don't play very good defense.
No.
I love their roster on paper. If they draw Dallas in the first round, I would probably pick Dallas. What hope do you give the Clippers of making any noise in the postseason?
Well, it's a really good question. So I think what happened is they really missed Russell Westbrook when he was out. He broke his hand, and they just miss his competitiveness, his energy. They lost a step when he was out. And I think the problem started before he went out, but I think they couldn't get back on track. And Kawhi has actually been very available. Like, I think he hit 65 games played this year. He's eligible for all the awards. But to me, they aren't going to do anything without Kawhi anyway. If they play Dallas in the first round, it's kind of a disaster because the Mavericks are the hottest team.
Luka kind of owns them.
Yeah, well, they beat him a couple years ago in the playoffs, but that was before Luka became Luka, and that was before they have this team now. They're also like the hottest team in basketball. So I would not like them having to play the Mavericks in the first round, but that's probably where it lines up. I think the Clippers remind me of the Lakers. They could beat anybody. They could lose to anybody. When I see them playing well, to me they seem like a team. I was just there the other night because they were playing the Nuggets, and I wanted to catch Denver when they came through town.
Clippers won that game.
Clippers won, and they didn't even have Kawhi. And Denver was trying to win the game. It's not like the Nuggets were.
Did Jamal Murray play in
that
game?
Did not play in the game. Reggie Jackson played, but Jamal Murray just came back, and so I think they're just trying to be healthy. I think the Clippers, like James Harden, had been playing pretty bad, but he had a shoulder injury. I think it's partially why he was bad. I think the Clippers are the same as I always think. They could beat anybody. They could lose to anybody. I actually think they can beat Denver in a playoff series. They're one of like a couple of teams that would match up well with them. Minnesota matches up well. I think Dallas matches up well. The Clippers match up well, but I don't know. It's hard to have faith in them when they have the lulls like they've had, and it's been a long one. Like they played pretty bad for a while there.
Right. Yeah, they just don't feel like a team to me that's going to make any noise in the postseason. Now, for the Lakers, I just got back off that long 11-day Laker road trip. They played great. They won 9 of 10 games, and then last night, everything goes wrong. LeBron catches the flu, had to go home. He was at the arena, he left. Then AD gets poked in the eye in the first quarter and doesn't come back. And without LeBron and AD, Minnesota's a really good team. And Minnesota beat them. So it sets up tomorrow night. Lakers, Warriors. So it's almost impossible to overstate how close the standings are in the West. Here is 6 through 10. Now, here's one thing. We now know, I don't know if I made this point clear earlier, we now know the 10 teams that have made the postseason in the West. 10 teams have qualified. Yep. The other teams have been eliminated. So Houston, Utah, Memphis, Portland, San Antonio, all done. They're out. The 10 teams are set. Now, the Warriors are 10th, 43-35. The Lakers are 9th, 45-34. So the Lakers are a game and a half ahead of the Warriors. They play tomorrow night. If the Lakers win that game, they lock up at least the 9th
Yeah.
And which means if they had to be in the 9-10 playoff game, at least it would be here.
Yeah.
It would be at Crypto.com Arena. But if they lose, then the Warriors would be half a game behind the Lakers, have an extra game in hand. The Lakers would have 2 games left. The Warriors would have 3. And all the Warriors would need to do would be tie the Lakers because they would have the tiebreaker. Now, how close is it in front of the Lakers? So Lakers 9th place, 45-34. Kings 8th place, 45-33. Lakers half game back. New Orleans 46-32. Game and a half ahead. Phoenix 46-32. So between the 6th spot and the 9th spot, it's a game and a half separating everybody.
It's crazy because you think back on all those games where you lose by just a hair. Like even that last Warriors game that we talked about where they were up, they kind of blow the lead.
AD got hurt.
AD gets hurt. There's that all the weird reviews, challenges, the clock malfunctions. Lawrence Tanner's having to call out the clock, remember?
Right.
Like that could be the game that decides it. If they lose tomorrow night and they end up at the 10 seed, you look back on that weird game with the Lawrence Tanner,
right.
Like it always, after such a long season and so many games, like it comes down to one game.
So tomorrow night is a huge game, the biggest game the Lakers played this season. Greg, do they win it? We still don't know if Anthony Davis's eye is okay, and we don't know if LeBron still has the flu. There has been no update. Tomorrow night, what happens?
If Anthony Davis does not play, they lose. If he plays, they win because no one on the Warriors has any size to compete with Anthony Davis.
Although Momo, Trace Jackson Davis has been really good for them. Dale Davis's son, he has been. He's a rookie. He's a 57th pick in the draft, but he started the last 7 games and they're 6-1 in those games.
He filled in for Jonathan Kuminga, who was the big revelation for everybody.
Right.
And Kuminga
now
got
Kuminga
hurt.
can't get back into the starting lineup.
Because Steve Kerr's just rolling with Trace Jackson Davis. I mean, he's because
Who
he's
do you
a true
think
big.
wins tomorrow night?
I think the Lakers will win. It's here, and I think everybody will play and they'll win.
Hope so. And if they win, then we'll be singing a different tune when I see you again on Wednesday.
Right.
But it's a huge game that we'll have for you here tomorrow. Matter of fact, tomorrow will be a fun day around here. DeMarco's going to come in with me at 1 o'clock. We're doing a combo plate 1 to 3. Michael will be here. Pepe will be here. Sedano and Cap will be here. They'll do 2 hours. Roll right into the game, which tips right at 7 o'clock. And we're going to get a lot of answers, Greg. You and I are both waiting on answers because we don't know what the schedule is or who we're going to play or what we're going to do. We're going to have some answers tomorrow night.
This is the second time this is happening. During the IST, we had no answers until the day before, and now we're having to wait.
Yeah,
once
and
again.
that all worked out.
Yeah, it did work out.
Yeah. Laura, do you think Lakers win tomorrow?
I'm in the building. They're going to win.
Oh, you're going? Good.
Yeah.
Brian, what do you think?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Hope so. Hope you guys are all right. All right, coming up next, Bergman's game. I don't think anybody has a lead in Game of Games. Isn't it like 5 or 6 people with 1 win?
5 people, 1 win, all the way through.
Okay, so it's Greg's game. Momo, Brian, Laura, and I will play, and we'll do it next. ESPN LA. I got to talk about Toyota, which I love to do. Matter of fact, last night, my guy, Mike Sullivan, LA car guy, gave away a Toyota to a Lakers fan who won a skills competition. It was super cool. All these Laker fans were out on the court, and the guy who did the best would win a car, and this guy was so appreciative. And Mike gave him the keys to the car, and he left the game last night with the car. Toyota and the Lakers have been together for 48 years. And the Southern California Toyota dealers, for as long as I've been lucky enough to be doing what I do, really for as long as I can remember, have been associated with the Lakers. Year after year, Toyota delivers quality, reliability, simply the best vehicles on the road. And right now, brand new inventory waiting for you. Choose from an amazing selection of cars, trucks, crossovers, SUVs, and EVs. Great deals waiting for you right now. All you got to do is see your Southern California Toyota dealers or visit Toyota.com. Toyota, we make it easy. Game of Games next, ESPN.
Big news, Laker fans. John Ireland here. You can now stream every Lakers game on the ESPN LA app. Don't miss a second of the action with Michael Thompson and I on the call. Plus, all your live and local Lakers talk every day in the palm of your hand.
You're one tap away from everything Lakers.
You could even win Lakers tickets.
Download the ESPN LA app. And bam!
Download the ESPN LA app at the App Store and Google Play.
All right, Parker.
What's up, Greg?
Spring training. All right, Parker.
Jeez. Little Otani and Dodger blue.
Yeah, why are you looking at the camera?
I don't know. Let's start over.
All right, Parker. Dodger spring training.
That's right, Greg. Otani and Dodger blue.
Yeah, Yamamoto's here. Pretty excited about that one.
Tons of new faces. I mean, Kike's back.
Yes, it's great. Maybe we should talk about it on the ESPN LA YouTube channel.
I like that idea. What do you say, 9:30, 9:55?
Right, leading right into Travis and Sliwa. Get a couple guests.
Maybe Marcus Grant, Travis Rogers, perhaps?
Yep, just have a bunch of people come in. Maybe Clinton Yates will even find his way in.
Oh, you know, you always want to have the handsome man president right there.
Absolutely. All right, well, I think we should do that. We'll do it every day, Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 9:55 on the ESPN LA YouTube channel, thanks to LAX.
Hey, I'm Dave Denholm.
And I'm Mario Rees.
You know us from the LAFC radio broadcasts.
Now we have a new podcast called LAFC Plus, and you can find it on the ESPN LA app.
LAFC Plus brings you all the latest on the black and gold.
Plus, we break down the latest news and interesting stories from around MLS.
For all the news, fun, insight, and everything that is MLS and LAFC, join us on LAFC Plus.
LAFC! It's available on the ESPN LA app and everywhere you get your podcast.
Join us.
.710 ESPN.
And it is time for Game of Games on the #1 sports radio show in LA, Mason and Ireland.
Game of Games.
Game of Games presented by CallJacob.com.
Call Jacob.
Everyone loves a fighter, but in this town, winning matters, especially after an accident. So remember, anyone can fight, but CallJacob.com is here for you when you need a big win. After an accident, go to CallJacob.com or call 844-24-JACOB. That's 844-24-JACOB. We got the jingle.
Call Jacob.
Thank you. Game of Games time. Take it away, Mase.
All right, no Mase today. Momo in for Mase, and it is Game of Games. It's Greg Bergman's game. It's brought to you by Jacob and Ronnie. Everyone loves a fighter, but in this town, winning matters, especially after an accident. So remember, anyone can fight, but Jacob is here for you when you need a big win after an accident. Go to calljacob.com or call 844-24-JACOB. Brian Cohen, Laura Romo, Ramona, and me. 4 players. Greg, what do we got?
So I'm surprised we didn't speak about this at all, but there was a total solar eclipse today.
I know.
And so this game is all about solar eclipses.
Okay.
Total solar
Good
eclipses.
top.
Us astrology people were really
I
me too.
honestly think Momo is going to do very well.
I don't know. I may not know all the
She's
eclipse things.
got the weather and the astrology stuff.
think.
Yeah. All right.
John, you know the weather thing's happening, by the way.
When are you doing it?
I have to set a date, but Alex Michelson
You're
said
gonna do
you
it
can
at
come-
Channel
yeah,
11.
Yeah.
Perfect.
He's like, come in anytime. You can do the weather.
We had a
Very
guest.
excited.
Alex came on and talked about it. All right. So anyway, number 1. This is the first total solar eclipse in the continental United States since when? Is it A, October 13th, 2012, or B, August 21st, 2017, John?
I will go 2017.
Okay, Momo.
2017.
Brian.
2017.
Laura.
Okay, I should go with that because everybody went, but I'll go 2012.
Should have gone with everybody else.
Oh,
It was
okay.
2017.
I remember that one. Everybody was like camping out and they were driving all over the country.
Yeah. All right, number 2. You start here, Momo.
Okay.
How many years will it take for the U.S. to see another total solar eclipse in the United States? 33 years or 20 years?
33.
Brian.
20 years.
Laura.
20.
John.
I'm with Momo, 33.
Should have gone with the other two because it is
Really?
20 years. It comes at
You seem so
2044.
sure
I
of
thought it was
yourself.
30 years.
Brian and Laura on the board. Yeah, 2044
I thought
is
I
the
read
next one
that
we see.
someplace.
Yeah.
I was really sure about that. Sorry, John.
You had great certainty in
I
your
did.
answer.
I did have certainty.
All right, so
I
Brian,
was not uncertain, as Dollar Bill would say.
Yeah, Brian had 2, has
was just
2, and
wrong.
everybody else has 1. Go ahead, Greg.
All right, number 3 is a solar eclipse. A solar eclipse is when the sun, the moon, and the earth are all aligned. Also called being in what? Is it syzygy or equilogy?
Whoa.
Brian?
Equilogy.
Okay. Laura?
A, the first one.
Syzygy. Okay.
Syzygy.
John?
They're both very weird.
Yeah, they are.
Point.
I'll go with one Brian. What is this?
He
It
went
starts with an E?
equilogy.
Equilogy. I'll go with that one.
And Momo?
I'll go with the first one.
Syzygy is
Yeah,
the right
Momo,
answer.
yeah,
Syzygy.
I got it.
Let's
Momo
go.
and Laura. I
All
made
right,
up
so everybody
equilogy.
Sounded good.
It sounded like you made up both of them.
No, syzygy was real.
All right, everybody has 2 except me. I have 1.
All right. When there's a total solar eclipse, they are always the same amount of time in length. Is that true or false, Laura?
False.
John?
False.
Momo?
They're always the same amount of time and length.
Just give an answer.
I think that's true.
Brian?
I'm going to go true, too.
It is false.
Oh,
It's
shoot.
completely false. So that's
All right,
John.
Laura's got the lead. But Laura has 3.
Because, I mean, doesn't it move at the same speed? The Earth moves
No,
at the same
but
speed.
the Earth rotates and
it's
tilts.
always moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I figured it couldn't be true.
Yep.
All right, Laura has 3. Everybody else has 2.
All right, number 5. Every person in the continental United States can at least see a partial solar eclipse today if the sky is clear enough. True or false? And back to John.
True.
Momo.
I think that's false.
Brian.
True.
Laura.
I'm going also false.
It is true. Every single person in the continental United States
Oh,
can.
United States. Dang it.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
John and Brian got that
So
one.
everybody has 3 except Momo, who has 2.
Dang.
How many are left?
I was
I
trying
have
to make up
8 and a
points.
tiebreaker.
All right, so what
This
number
is, this is 6.
Okay, so 3 left and then the tiebreaker.
The
All right.
center line of the eclipse will pass over how many states? Is it A, 8 or B, 15? Momo.
I think it's 15.
Okay, Brian.
Like 8 here.
Laura.
8.
And John.
8.
It is 15. Only Momo got that one. He's got to
it's
think
a-
it goes over
from
like
Maine to, like, Texas.
yeah, Maine, Vermont, New
It's
Hampshire.
a 4-way
Yeah, let's
tie.
go.
Yeah, with 2 left. So I
Wow.
can't
I
even
was like
think-
Maine to Texas. That's a lot of states.
Yeah, boy, this is as close
Yeah.
of a game of games as
Let's
we've
go.
had.
There we go. Okay, so number 7.
Why
If
not?
you want to see the total solar if you want to see the total solar eclipse, the longest in the United States, you go to Las Quintas Fronterizas, Texas. I don't think I said that right.
No.
It's right on
La
the Mexico
Quinta?
border. Las Quintas Fronterizas.
Las Quintas Fronterizas.
That one.
Sounds
Sounded
better when
better,
Laura
yeah.
says it.
There, it will last how long? 4 minutes and 22 seconds or 7 minutes and 36 seconds? And this goes to Brian first.
7 minutes.
Laura.
It was 4, right?
Yeah, 4 minutes 22 or 7:36.
Let's go 4:22.
John.
Oh, so somebody's going to have the lead.
Oh, man. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm with Brian. I'm going 7.
Okay, Momo?
I'm going to say 4.
It is 4 minutes and 22 seconds. So Momo and
Let's
Brian
go.
and Laura have the lead with
I think it
one
was 3
left.
minutes elsewhere.
All right, so they have to go. The girls have to go first.
Yes, they do. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Number 8, and we'll start with Laura because she was in line.
Okay.
It is safe to look directly at a total solar eclipse when it is in full totality. Is that true or false?
I really don't know, but I'm going to go false.
Momo.
I think it's true. When it's full totality.
It's crap, Brian. We can't win.
Can't win.
But I'm going to say full totality. I'm with Momo. I think it's true.
I think it's true as well.
Because in the full totality, the moon is over. That's actually when you should look
yeah,
at
I
it.
don't
So
know.
it is absolutely true.
I
Momo!
initially said I don't
Momo
know.
gets the W. Do you want the tiebreaker just for fun?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So,
Cool J. So, okay.
what is the
Nobody
long?
else but me? Okay.
By the way, with you winning, Greg, that means 6. There's a six-way
go.
tie for first
Six-way
place.
tie. Yeah, amazing.
Woo!
All right,
Good
so
job.
what is the longest possible length of totality of a total solar eclipse? Minutes and seconds.
Okay. The longest it could possibly last.
John?
I'm going to go 12 minutes, 22 seconds.
Okay. Momo.
5 minutes, 30 seconds.
Brian.
6 minutes even.
Damn. I was going to go there, Brian.
So you got to either go
6:02.
Oh, there you go, Laura.
6:02. The winner is Laura. It's 7 minutes and 32 seconds is the longest that it can possibly
Wow.
Very good. Momo, proud of
be.
you.
Nice job, Momo.
Good job, Momo. I honestly thought that was false.
Greg, that was a good game.
Thank you very much.
And very timely.
Thanks.
Not the normal mail-it-in Burger
I did
game
not
that
mail
I
it in.
accuse you of doing all the time.
Yes.
You put
So I don't lose a point. I do not lose a point.
No, you do not. That was excellent.
Yeah.
Brian, hit
about
the
that.
super stager.
Crosstalk. Are we ready for Sedano and Cap to join Mason in Ireland?
Super Crosstalk begins. Super Crosstalk, presented by Coors Light. Coors Light, made to chill.
It's time for Super Crosstalk.
It is time for Super Crosstalk, and we're going to hear from a couple of guys you haven't heard from in a while. George Sedano and Scott Kaplan return for a power hour. You guys have been off for 2 weeks, right, Sedano?
Is it? No, I don't even know anymore. I know we were off for a week for sure.
I was off for almost 2 weeks because I was on the road, and I think we had so many back east games. I don't think you guys ever did a full show, did you?
Yeah, we while you were gone, me and Mase did some combo plates together. And then we got knocked off the air because of a couple of Laker games 1 week. This is 2 weeks ago. Then we got knocked off the air on a Thursday because we aired NCAA tournament games. So, yeah, from 4 to 7 p.m., we have not been on for the better part of the last, 2-3 years.
Okay, we made an assumption.
Years?
Yeah.
Don't call it a comeback, Momo. I got you, girl.
Right?
I got you.
It's exciting.
So, we made an assumption on the show earlier, and I want to see if I'm right. My assumption was that, Cappy, you probably are on Cameo, and Sedano, you are probably not. George, are you on Cameo?
No chance.
Cappy?
No, but there could always be a chance.
Okay, because I figured, Sedano, the reason I said it is Mason and Cappy have similar personalities.
Yeah.
They're kind of about their brands. And Mason, of course, is on. Did you see the picture Mason posted on Instagram today?
No, I'll check it out right now.
I'm gonna send it to you. It is vintage Mason, and it's him shirtless in a jacuzzi.
No way.
Oh yeah, Cap, you're gonna be very jealous.
It's the look on his face.
Oh my.
Yeah, you are. And I thought that is. There's never been anything on brand as much as that is.
Oh my God! You know, John, the worst part, and Momo, you'll appreciate this. The worst part of George and I not being on the air for the last week in particular was that on Monday of last week, 1 week ago today, I did not get the opportunity to come on the air and give everybody the review of what had happened the previous Friday night when me and Rachel and my 2 other girlfriends, Cappy's Angels, the 4 of us went to the Whiskey in West Hollywood to hang out with Juan and Mase for the Yacht Cruise show.
Well, that's okay. Give the review now. What was it like?
First of all, it was out of this world. I'm sure everybody talked about it last week. I was completely off the grid. But Mase and me and Morales went on stage at the Whiskey to bring the band on stage, which was awesome. And we had so many 710 listeners there that night that had bought tickets to come and party and have a great time. Mase, though, was in one of those gummy zones where he was on stage and he was don't really give me the microphone. I don't really have anything to say. And then when he got off the stage, Juan, who can, by the way, Juan can drink beer. Juan is like a heavy craft beer kind of drinker. And Mase was just like completely in one of these gummy zones where he was just kind of numb the entire night. But it was a great time. So we missed you guys. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, as you know, I love yacht rock. And Sedano, you didn't go, did you?
No, I was out of town already.
But George, are you back in California yet? I know you were in Florida for a while.
I'm in Miami still, and then I'm headed to Bristol and New York tomorrow.
Oh, boy.
Well, one out of 2 ain't bad.
Yeah, 2 out of 3. Miami, New
yeah,
York.
That's true.
Yeah.
We've all been sentenced to Bristol at one time or another. You get through once you get on campus, it's okay. But it's as I often tell people, it's not the end of the world, but you can see it from there.
Well, now they have a DoubleTree. I haven't been there in a few years, but
the DoubleTree is great. I went there when they built that thing in 2013, so I don't know what it's like other than having a DoubleTree there.
You were not there pre-DoubleTree?
No, I wasn't either. The DoubleTree has been my regular. So every time I went to work out at the DoubleTree, I would run into Skip Bayless. No matter what time of day I was there. This is before Skip went to Fox.
Like when I started ESPN in 2009, and I think I went back to Bristol, every year, a couple times a year. Before that, sometimes even more than that. And before the DoubleTree, your options were a Residence Inn,
which is old.
Or you can stay in Hartford, which is kind of pretty far away.
Too far of a drive, though. Because when you go there for what we're going there for, which is like to do endless hits on SportsCenter, they you got to be someplace close because you got to kind of drive down there early and stay late and all that stuff. So the Residence Inn is just like you're going there in the dead of winter. You're at the Residence Inn. You come home afterwards. If you don't, there's no restaurants that are open except for maybe the Dunkin' Donuts, but even that closes early. And so, I can't tell you how many microwave dinners I had at Stouffer's dinners from the Residence Inn.
See, because this is the thing, Momo. No one told you
everything's closed. If you get for example, George, if you do your show. Which you guys are on 4 to 7, so you would get off at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Right. And at 10 o'clock, everything's closed.
You're trying to find anything in Bristol. Like even an AM, PM is hard at 10 o'clock.
The cafeteria, the caf stays open pretty late. So there's that. And it's pretty good. I prefer it for breakfast personally, but, it's pretty good.
Speaking of pretty good, John, did you watch the series finale last night of Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I did, and I enjoyed it, but I'm a huge Curb guy, so I was going to like it probably no matter what. What did you think of it?
Well, I want to tell you something. Episode 1 of Season 12, okay, so the first episode of this season, I turned off the episode when they got to Auntie Ray's house and they were all fighting.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody was fighting, and it became very annoying to my girlfriend, and she's like, I can't believe you having me watch this, and she made me turn it off. So I have not seen episodes 2, 3, 4, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But I knew that last night was the series finale, and under the assumption that I could just pick it up without having to know what was going on, I watched it last night no matter what. Now, I don't want to spoil it for anybody. Is the whole thing with Larry going on trial in Georgia, is that something that I would have needed to have known during the season?
Yes.
Yeah. So early in the season, he was in line. Auntie Ray was in line in Georgia waiting to vote.
Okay.
And Larry brought her a bottle of water.
Okay.
Which is against
illegal.
election code.
But he didn't know. He wasn't he wasn't some freedom fighter. He just thought it was hot.
Yeah.
And she was been in line for 2 hours. He was like, "Do you want some water?" And then he got arrested.
If you had to go back, I think Curb's like one of the top 3 comedies ever made.
Yeah.
But one of the hardest exercises you can come up with is what's the best Curb episode ever?
Oh, I got that one for me.
And for me, it's hard because the carpool lane is
That's a great one.
Unbelievable. That's when Larry has tickets to a Dodger game
Right.
and he
Takes
realizes
the hooker.
that he's not going to make it unless he drives in the carpool lane. So he picks up a hooker on Sunset Boulevard
Right.
and drives to the drives game. That's great. Cappy, to me, though, the winner, the Black Swan episode is hilarious, which was
that's great.
partially filmed at Mountain Gate where I play golf. Larry he gets attacked by a black swan, and it's the pet swan of Mr. Takahashi, who owns the golf club, and Larry kills it. And then they all try and cover it up. But for me, Cap, the winner is the Palestinian chicken episode.
Okay.
Have you seen that episode?
Yes. I know which one you're talking about, and that's not my winner, but go ahead. Keep going. I'll tell you my winner.
In the Palestinian chicken episode, they realize Larry and Bob Einstein, Super Dave Osborne, who's no longer with us, he passed away, realized that the greatest chicken place in all of Los Angeles, and they're Jewish, both of them, is a Palestinian chicken place that they're not supposed to patronize because they're Jewish. And Larry not only patronizes it because the chicken is so good, but he starts dating one of the girls who works there.
Right.
And she's like, when they're in bed together, she's like, do me like the Palestinians screw over your people.
Oh, my God.
And, it's like the most offensive thing. And Super Dave, Bob Einstein, is downstairs with a yarmulke on listening to this.
Oh, my God.
And it's like so disgusted with Larry. And Larry's so proud of himself.
Yes, he is.
That they can't. So that to me is the winner. What's yours, Cal?
For me, Crazy Eyes Killer. Do you know who that is?
Of course.
Crazy Eyes Killer is going to marry Wanda.
Wanda Sykes.
But he can't stop sleeping with other women, specifically Asian women. He has a thing for Asian women, and he refuses to give up on Asian women. And Larry's like, but Crazy Eyes, you're getting married to Wanda. And he goes, wait a second. You and me we're tight. You can't tell anybody this. Well, then Wanda goes out with Cheryl that night, and he thinks that they're going to Crazy Eyes' house. So he has to use the phone book. This is how long ago the show was, to try and find Crazy Eyes' number. And when he gets to Crazy Eyes' house, Crazy Eyes wants to show him around the house, but Larry had been kicked out by Jeff's wife because he didn't want to see their new house, so he had to take the tour with Crazy Eyes, right? And so, I mean, it's just like one of the most classic episodes. But I watched last night, John, having not seen, I saw 30 minutes of episode 1 of season 12, and I watched last night, and I'll tell you something right now, I loved the season and the series finale.
Okay, well, by the way, I will jump in and tell you that Rachel's not the first person I've seen that doesn't watch the show with all the yelling and screaming and wants to turn it off. Like, if you have to really be invested in the show to like it, I think that there's a certain sense of humor that that certain people who have a certain sense of humor that enjoy it, but I don't think it's for everybody because there's a lot of that, and I think that annoys a lot of people.
So I will tell you this. I never watched it until this season because I was turned off by that kind of stuff, but also like I just didn't get it. Like I watched one and I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
And then Mase and you were all talking. I was like, oh, it's the last season. Let me watch. And then I got really into it this season to the point where I started going back and watching old seasons. But it's not the kind of show you could binge watch. Like you watch it and it's like it'll get on your nerves if you watch 2 or 3 episodes in a row. Like it's not like, you know what I mean? You're like, oh God, shut up. You know, like after a while you're like, all right. So you can watch a couple every here and there, but I kind of look forward to going and watching all these other ones you're talking about.
Oh, there are some all-time classics.
Crazy Eyes Killer. Just watch that one, please.
You know who loves Curb more than anybody is Michael. He cannot.
That is definitely Michael's sense of humor.
He cannot get enough of Curb. And if you want to make Michael laugh, I just randomly.
How did he never get a cameo? He should have had a cameo.
But I would randomly send Michael clips from Curb just to make him laugh.
Yeah.
Like we'll be sitting on the plane and he sits like a row behind me on the opposite side of the aisle. I'll just randomly send
him stuff.
Send him
John,
a Curb episode. All right,
one
so like
thing.
this is when COVID happened.
Oh.
Okay, and you guys know Michael is a germaphobe.
Yeah.
So when COVID happened, Michael thought like a light bulb went off in his head when he was watching Curb once, and he said, "You know, we're not going to be able to shake hands with people anymore. Shouldn't even fist bump." He goes, "What we got to do is bow instead of shake hands, we got to bow. And that all came from this season. I just had Brian pull it up. This is Larry meeting a Japanese guy. So this Japanese guy is walking down the street, and another Japanese guy knocks over his ice cream cone. And he bows because he's very sorry. And Larry sees this whole exchange, and then this ensues.
Speak English?
Yes, I am fluent, yes.
Oh, I noticed that when you apologized to this man, you gave him a rather deep bow, almost 90 degrees.
Yes.
Yeah.
I spilled ice cream, so I'm very sorry. So I apologize to him, yes.
Yes. Now, the other night, a Japanese fellow apologized to me.
Yes.
But he only went down a few degrees, kind of like that.
Like that?
Yeah.
Oh, that is not apology to you. No, he was not sorry at all.
He wasn't sorry?
No. He a little dismissive of you.
Dismissive?
Yes. Yes.
I got a dismissive bow?
Yes, a little bit bow.
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 Bow, I got. I got bow.
No bow would be better than that bow.
No bow.
Wow.
I've seen that episode.
And
It's great.
Mike,
That is hilarious.
So after that episode, Michael shows up at Crypto, and he's bowing to people that are sticking out their hands.
90-degree bow?
Yeah, and he's doing a whole deep bow, and he was trying to get it to catch on. So in support of him, I started doing it.
Oh my God!
And we couldn't do it. We couldn't get people to bow back.
Oh my
But we
God.
thought that was like the greatest solution for
I will bow.
for post-COVID. Okay, Cappy, when I see, are you coming in tomorrow?
Oh yeah, I'll be there all week.
I will give you a very deep bow.
Oh, I'm giving you a deep bow.
Hey.
Yo. Hey, wait, John, real quick. So I haven't seen the whole season. I only saw the final episode, right? Now, I don't know how many months ago it was that Richard Lewis died. And I was a huge Richard Lewis fan, right?
I know he listened to the station, Cap, too. He
I
listened
was
to you
such a-
guys. He listened to us. He was really
Such a
good.
huge
He
fan.
followed me on Twitter.
Yep.
Such a
Loved
huge
you
fan.
guys.
Can I tell you something? That having not seen him all season until the final episode, he looked terrible.
Well, he looked like he was at the end. Yeah.
Oh
very,
my
very
God.
much so.
I felt so bad. I swear to God, like last night, I saw Richard Lewis on the final episode, the season finale, the series finale, and I went, oh my God, of course they're using him because this was already shot, and I'm sure it's, a great homage to Richard, but he looked horrible.
Yeah, he worked right till the end of his life. But, him and Larry were born in the same hospital. They've been friends since they were infants.
I mean, Larry is 75 years old and is still doing what he does, and it's been 24 years, not 12 seasons, 24 years, right?
Yep, that first year was in 2000 when they came out with the first Curb.
He was 51 years old, 50, whatever it was, 51. Now he's 75. I can't believe it, man. I mean, I just cannot believe how long that show has lasted.
Great show. Okay, you guys only have 1 hour today, so we're getting
By
out
the
of
way,
here.
I have one quick
Go
question
ahead,
for
George.
both of you. Does AD still have an eyeball?
George, here's my weird thing. As you know, I'm buddies with James Worthy.
Yeah.
And I was with Worthy yesterday, and I said, why did I watched your whole college career. You played at North Carolina, and you never wore any goggles. You get to the Lakers, you start wearing goggles. Why? He said, because I got poked in the eye 3 times my rookie year. And he said, I realized I was going to have to miss games if I didn't do this. And Kareem was wearing goggles, so Gary Vitti had extra sets. And he gave them to me, and I wore them for the rest of my career. Wouldn't it be, George, reasonable for Darvin Ham and Rob Pelinka to go to AD and go, look, man, I know you don't think they look cool. I know you don't like wearing them because they could be distracting. But this is the 3rd time we've lost you. You got to put these on.
But here's the thing. You mentioned branding earlier.
Yeah.
Covers the brow.
I don't care. Maybe put in. Hey, George,
They gotta
put
figure that
like
out, George.
fake like Groucho Marx stick-on brows over the goggles. Whatever makes it work.
Yeah. So that was my one question, and then actually, while I have one more.
Yeah.
Did Greg Bergman actually have a guest on the Blue Review?
Tomorrow. Not today. Tomorrow.
Yet he refuses to book any guests on Mason and Ireland.
Yeah.
Who's the
pretty
guest?
much.
You got Otani coming on?
No, that's next week.
No, he's got some dude from the Athletic.
Fabian Ardaya.
Cappy, I would take you as a guest. just to get a guest on
Really?
the show. But
He's
Greg-
on right now.
What about Jovan Buha?
Yeah, Jovan. Well, Sliwa booked Jovan so many nights during the pandemic that he's maxed out.
Oh.
But, yeah. All right, Sonato and Cap coming up next. Power Hour, NCAA championship game tonight at 5. Momo, thank you.
Always fun.
Sonato and Cap next, ESPN.